Yo, and hello, and greetings. I think everything should be working fine on here. Ocelot coming in with the... Come on, baby, light my fire. That's... The Doors, right? I want to make sure... I'm worried. Oh, I could not begin to tell you. Okay, hang on. Yeah, The Doors. Okay, I was worried. That's okay. Jim Morrison and The Doors. Fun fact before we get started. Back at one of my old jobs, when you would have to go into the kitchen, really at any what's the word I want? At any food service job, when you want to go back into the kitchen, and there's a door in the way, you want to make sure that there's nobody on the other side of the door, so that you don't, blast somebody out of the way as you open the door. So, when I would have Latino coworkers, I would end up saying like puerta as I would open the door, etc. And then one of my coworkers was also, he was a like classic rock nut. So occasionally, instead of shouting door, for him specifically when he was working in kitchen, I would instead say Jim Morrison as I opened the door for the Doors. And it always brightened his day. I was happy because he was a grumpy guy. So that meant that the food would taste, a couple points better when a happy... what was his name? His name was Joe. When happy mode Joe was cooking rather than not so happy mode Joe. Alrighty, welcome back to another lovely Monday afternoon, evening, morning, midday, what have you, depending on your time frame. What's that thing? Time zone? There we go. My name is Fizz. I will be hosting things once again for the Isbrit stream today. I have notes, I think. Where did they go? They weren't anything too crazy. But we'll just go ahead anyway. So yeah, if you have not been to a Yisbrit stream before, I welcome you. This is first time hanging out with us. Yisbrit Games is an indie publishing company that has published games such as Valhalla, Cyberpunk Bartender Action, Nirvana, Cyberpunk Bartender Action, which you can wishlist on Steam. And I have a thing. Look at this. Bam. Why is it giving me the chat rules? I was here when the chat rules were born. Bam. Yeah. Okay, there we go. If you're watching this on YouTube, that was me just typing into Twitch chat about the wishlist stuff, because you can wishlist Nirvana and No Place for Bravery, another game that Yesbert publishes over there on Steam. I have mods for that. I do. And we love our mods. Thank you, Ocelot, who is one of them. She Remembered Caterpillars, Masquerada of Songs and Shadows, World of Horror. It's a fantastic game. All of them are fantastic games. Y2K, Postmodern RPG, also a fantastic game. Yeah. As I've said before, Jacob, Meredith, and Brian, the lovely folks at Isbrid, like to pluck only the finest of homegrown fruits from various parts of the world, and these fruits are fantastic art direction, music, style, grace, substance, all of the above, and publish them through this lovely golden bridgey publishing company. Yeah. Today, however, we are playing a game of a friend of ours. So we're doing Supergiant Games' Pyre, the third in their, I'm going to say series of games, but it's not like they have a series going. But this came after Transistor, before Hades. And it's about sports. Allow me to... That was what I had the notes for. Just to talk about Supergiant Games a little bit. They're out of San Francisco. Small team originally, but grew a little bit. Still a small team. But they, added just a couple people here and there because they're one of the biggest small teams as far as how well-known they are. Hades having won many an award over the last couple of years. Published by Raw Fury, I believe it was. Or no, excuse me. I was thinking of Sable. My bad. No, this is just self-published. That was why I didn't talk about a publishing company last time. I'm silly. I made a mental note for myself because I saw the Raw Fury tag the other day, and I was like, oh shoot, did I forget to mention that? I must have forgotten to mention that. And so I made the little mental note. Somehow it stuck, but it was for like 2 or 3 weeks ago instead of last week. So disregard that, everything I said about Raw Fury, but also cool publishing company, just not involved with Pyre. Don't allow me to spread lies. Alrighty, that said, let's get playing with Pyre. Playing with Pyre, you're tempting fate. If I can get everything looking nice. There we go. Mind you, when I'm like tabbing out of things, the music will stop. Unfortunately, I didn't figure out how to fix that. So if that ends up being the case, So I apologize if the wonderful music gets interrupted at any point. But to talk a little bit about what the game was about, Pyre involves what are called the rites, R-I-T-E-S, rites, which are a way for those who have been banished, I believe, from this city of which we know not a whole lot. Basically, when they kick you out of the city for crimes, the only way to earn your way back in, if you can survive the outside world, is to compete in groups against other groups and earn your place back through these rites. There are what were called the scribes, I believe, which are like the gods or like saints, perhaps, some equivalency there, who have sort of created the system, to my knowledge. I'm not entirely sure. A lot of this is discovery for me, and we don't know a lot yet at this point in the story. However, we, the main character, have woken up. So you're finally awake with this caravan, which reminds me a lot of the Crystal Caravan from Crystal Chronicles. Rather than a caravan, it's a wagon of some sort. It has a special name, but we'll double check on what that was in a moment. But yeah, so we're cruising around, picking up some friends, trying to figure out what's going on with some other friends, dealing with opponent teams, duking it out a little bit, and trying to earn our way back into the city for whatever it was that we did and whatever it was that our friends did. And we don't quite know everything about everybody yet. As we pick up new characters, we can flesh out their stories through using them. Every character plays a little bit differently, and so we'll get to meet these new characters as we go along. Thankfully, all of these characters have a small amount of voicing. Nothing in English, though there was... I forget the name of the language. I can look that up real fast. It'll cut the music. I apologize. But we discussed it last time. That Supergiant made a language for it, Saurian, a fictional language for this game. And so we'll hear everybody speaking that language for their small little voice snippets. However, it's just enough voice snippet for me to get an idea of what their voice should sound like when I translate. That said, is my controller working? Yes, it is. Cool. Yeah, oh, we are called the Reader because reading is a crime? Yes, so we can read. Whether or not that's the crime that got us kicked out or not, I'm not sure. But yes, we are called the Reader. We are able to read this book that's like a rule book kind of a thing. like, as the game goes forward, we can read more pages of it. And this is also what's helping out our crewmates, teammates, in understanding what it is that they have to do in order to atone for their crimes, or maybe not atone, but at least earn their way back into the city. So, let's begin. So we can hop right back where we were. At the cairn of Haub. The goal, just for a little bit of scheduling, is that I plan on doing three games or 3 rights per stream. Usually it's like 1 an hour because there's some content in between. We'll have some choices, some story, etc., and we get into nitty-gritty of stuff. So that's kind of how it's been turning out. Usually done by about 8:30 with like 2 breaks in between. So let's hop back into it. The Black Wagon, that was the name of our caravan. This is Rookie. He has a mustache. And if I remember correctly, he very much had a New York accent that I was giving him, or something to that effect. He seems to have something on his mind. Oh yeah, the art in this game is fantastic. Like any good point-and-click adventure, all of these things can be interacted with. Like, let's just blow that out, blow these out. Knock on the wall a little bit. I'll blow those out. There we go. Clear some of these cobwebs. Pet this little dude. Can you pet the imp? You sure can. Rustle the stuff. Oh yeah, Rookie is a wonderful lad. He is Rookie Greentail, and he does have a green tail. Yes. So many little things and characters and creatures in this are beautiful. Tizo was somebody we just got, who is an imp himself. Looks kind of like an owl. And apparently he's fluttering about right now, so we can just imagine him flapping about outside, maybe. Hoping we could see him pop out, but oh well, you know what, let's look at the roster for a second so we can see who our friends are here. Also, a hello and a Yisbrid heart to Velabestet. Also hello to Josh something, because I didn't realize you said hi friends, and hi friends. Hi to all of you, as a matter of fact. These are the characters that we have so far. We have Hedwyn, we have Jodariel, we have Rookie, we have Lei, whose name was decided by dice roll last time, because you get to pick what first letter her name has. It's always something AE. My vote was for Titan AE, but they didn't have that. That's a lie. I made that up right now. But, you know, would have been funny if I had come up with that joke last time, too. And then we have Tizo. Look at that little dude. Look at his little bat nose. He's like an owl bat. The bat owl. The bowel. Alrighty. And we get to choose 3 at a time to take with us into a right. Yeah, insert characters A. Exactly. And if you're familiar with Transistor and Bastion, well, all the games really, though I can't speak on behalf of Hades because I haven't played it, but you can hear the instrumentation and the music as being very much of the pedigree of Supergiant games. Like that bass that you're hearing right now is very prominent in Transistor, for sure. Let us go. We'll go back, because there's nothing really to do there right now. Unless, well, wait, can I level people up? Was that what this was? Or was that, what was that green bit? Not sure if that means that I can do something. Maybe not. I don't think I can level anything up right now. Interesting that the Enlightenment has green. I don't know what that means. Maybe we'll find out. Ah, well. Let's talk to Rookie. Continue our story. You can tell something is troubling Rookie, though he seems relieved to see you. Hey, chum, listen. I got to level with you real quick. You remember Barker, don't you? Let's see if we remember. Barker Ashpaws, yes. He's a troublemaking cur who thrills in the defeat of the triumvirates who stand against him. Our teams are called triumvirates. Groups of 3. Barker Ashpaws was a like punk rock metal kind of pupper. All the puppers are called curs in this game, and not cur like what is it called? Is it Soul Calibur? Was it Ivy that would always like insult people by calling them cur? Cur. It was either Ivy or it was Siegfried, but I forget. Maybe a catch-up mechanic. Yes, very well could be a catch-up mechanic. But yeah. It's Barker Ashpaws. You remember Barker, don't you? Not exactly easy to forget, though. Believe you me, I try. Well, he's got me by the scruff. I've been down here a little while, as you can see by now. But Barker, he's been here longer. He's made quite the name down here. As for me, I needed help, you understand. I had a certain standard to uphold. So, I figured he would be the one to ask. Then Ruki hesitates. But then his familiar grin returns.
Is that a fratty?
So what if I owe him, though, right, chum? I got people back on the other side, and just between us, we're loaded! I mean rich! My little problem with Barker, soon it's gonna take care of itself. Just as soon as my people send the money through. So, I am telling you right here and now, don't you even worry about it. And I'm sure everything on that front is going to end up real tidy real soon. With that, he scampers off before you can respond. It seems Ruki owes a debt of some sort. What is on the line exactly, you are unsure. This would be that Book of Rights I spoke about before, where we can read things in a decidedly Emmett Selk voice for those Final Fantasy XIV fans out there. Though I'm going to need a... is this? Oh, that was just saying which page we're on, I think. Unless, was there something new on this? No. I don't think so. This looks the same as it was. Yes, Emmett Selk is Shadowbringers. Indeed. Alrighty, well, that said, we can go now and continue our journey by hitting this button that says continue your journey. How about that? Pardon me. A lot of water, which is good. Stay hydrated. Hey. Come dawn, you find Hedwyn and Jodariel assessing the current situation with the minstrel. Yes, the minstrel which ran off and came back and also gave us the ability to play soundtracks in the in our Crystal Caravan. He also seemed to be he's working for someone. He's working for someone that we don't trust, I think. Something to that effect. But yeah. Also, Ocelot redeems that community hydrate check, so y'all better be joining me in some water drinking. Come dawn, you find Hedwyn and Jodariel assessing the current situation with the minstrel. Are you most certain? Aye, madame. I make no claim the journey shall be pleasant, but it is necessary. Hedwyn motions to you as they continue talking. Seems we'll have some work to do once we arrive in the Flagging Hands. Let's get going soon as you're ready. Sooner we get there, sooner we can leave. To the Flagging Hands. Beetledune! 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 We're not there yet. The Lone Minstrel knows a relatively safe route down into the Flagging Hands region. Well, let's hear it, buddy. music is good in this game. Well, let's consider how to proceed. A lot of times we have a couple options of which way we can go, and depending on which way we go, changes what stat boosts we can get, or potentially what people we can run into. The Flagging Hands region proves as dismal as Jodariel indicated. The air is thick and foul. How far to the pit of Milith? According to the stars, the next rite shall soon commence here. A fetid den in which the witch Milith, sealed the physical form of Islak Astralborn. All the way across the marshlands on the coast. Reader, would you join me in the wagon for a moment? We have matters to discuss. Milith? Thanks, Lancelot. Jodariel and Hedwyn exchange looks, then she turns to you. Go see what he wants. But the orb! I want to ponder that thing! Oh, we're about to. Thank you for your time, reader. I have something for you on behalf of my client. Before you is an artifact called the Beyonder Crystal. An ancient artifact connected to the rites. Should the reader manage in your eyes, present the crystal only then. A message to the lone minstrel. You observe a shimmering crystal of some sort beside the Book of Rites. As you have surmised, the triumvirates you are to confront during the rites shall stop at nothing to prevail against you. They've prepared for this for quite some time. The Beyonder Crystal may help ensure that you are well prepared in turn. It is a resource now at your disposal, to be used at your discretion. Gaze upon it, and you shall see what I mean. Henceforth, you may use the Beyonder Crystal. It is calling you. Hello? Beyonder Crystal? Huh, hung up. Let's take a closer look. Beyonder Crystal seeks Ruki! No, you can't take him! You look upon the shimmering surface of the Beyonder Crystal. Some of your senses fail. I think it was a good band, if I remember correctly. Is that a good band? I think they were in Guitar Hero. Or maybe that was a song by a different band? Guitar Hero, a long time ago. Though you retain a hold over your consciousness. An apparition appears before you, clad in the raiments of the rites, but incorporeal. I sense that you are not a total idiot. She reaches for the clasps on her mask. So the Nightwings have returned. The name of a triumvirate in blue. It seems your fellow exiles have assumed their identity. Oh, but where are my manners? You must be their lovely reader. Please call me Sandra. I'm covering the art on that side. Oh, so I am. Ba-doom, doom, 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 ba-doom, doo-ba-doo-doo-doo. Can we go here? No, that'll cover. We'll try this, but characters may be on that side too. I could try middle. I can shrink myself a little, if that works. We'll try that. I think it might have to just cut off a little bit of the top of their head. One moment. We Gucci. I'll try and keep an eye on the stream on OBS too, and see if I can find a better spot for it. Maybe only move the captions. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I could do that. No, stay. I don't wish to move the whole world. Yeah, you know what? Let me do this. Can I... Darn. Maybe if I do this. Captions to the left, me to the right, or is that weird? Okay, well, I'm gonna assume that this will work better. Okay, Cool. Then we'll try that. See how it goes. Alrighty. I'm going to move it down a little bit, though, so that it's centered compared to the me. Please. Like that? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, we'll try that. Cool. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah. Sandra, you say? She is a wraith, expelled for eternity within the Beyonder Crystal and bound to serve the rites. Also, I was going to say it's cool how you're fading in and out that character's voice. Yeah. So that's actually that's a voice effect that is called I believe it's called a reverse echo or reverse reverb. And the way you do it, it's not something you can do live, to my knowledge. No, you wouldn't be able to, because you have to do a lot of processing on it. But it's not a lot of processing. All you do is you record something and put reverb on it. Or no, excuse me, you record something, then you reverse it, like the recording, and then you slap reverb on that, and then you reverse it again. And so all of the echo is now a crescendo rather than a decrescendo at the end. It crescendos into whatever you're saying, and it sounds a lot like somebody speaking to you from another dimension, or like I can show it off on a break. I'll pull up Audacity and do some. We'll do a quick after this next break. We'll do a quick audio editing thing, and it'll be fun. All right. Oh, but where are my manners? It must be their lovely reader. Please call me Sandra. I think we read that. Right? Yes. We met briefly before, when you first beheld the book, when you were stuck inside of it. I was among the phantoms your companions banished there, no doubt stroking their egos. You listened well enough to that damned voice. Now I suggest you listen well to me. The voice described within the book. It calls to you during the rites and reminds you of your exile. Thanks for reminding me. I am bound in servitude to you, along with any idiots whose freedoms happen to be intertwined with yours. I know the rites better than anyone. I can soon whip you into shape if you but take advantage of my services. First, I offer scribe trials to those friends of yours. Sandra's series of special challenges, custom-tailored for each of your fellow exiles. If they can pass, it shall be worth their while, and yours. Secondly, my Beyonders and I avail ourselves for our practice rites, should you be so inclined. Spectral Triumvirate, banished for eternity and trapped within the rites. Oh, so that's going to be fighting Polygon Team, that kind of guy. I avail ourselves for practice rites. No strings training. Cool, should you be so inclined. Well, thank you, Ocelot. I try. Or if you could always come and chat, and briefly free me from an eternity of boredom. To have invoked Sandra from the Beyonder Crystal. What do you wish? Oh, you have evoked Sandra from the Beyonder Crystal. What do you wish to do? Request of her a scribe trial. Challenge her to a practice rite. Ask what's on her mind. Or bid her farewell. Let's chat for a little bit. This will be fun. Because I'm sure we can do this kind of whenever. And if we can't, then clearly the dialogue has to be equally as important as actual gameplay items. So. I do appreciate the effort to make small talk with me, reader. Anything to break from the monotony of staring at the void within this place. Not that I could see it if I tried. She laughs at this, or maybe at herself. Certainly, I would make talk with my fellow Beyonders, trapped here as they are with me. You might expect that we would all keep each other company. That we all would keep each other company. There is just one problem there, however. We are all sick of one another. She laughs again. Perhaps not at her joke, but instead at her predicament. I do exaggerate to some extent. But there is a certain truth in this. We have been stuck together long enough that we have grown more distant rather than more close. But I had best not wear out my welcome with the likes of you, as I have long since done with all the others here. So carry on for now, and if those fools with whom you travel learn something, come bring them forth to me, and I shall see to it they learn some more. Let's request a virtual scribe trial. Indeed, it looks as though one of those failures of yours is ready for a lesson in pain. Oh, okay. Shall brave one of Sandra's scribe trials. Choose among the worthy. Who is worthy? Looks like Ruki is worthy. Looks like Ruki's the only one who's worthy. Hey, Ruki! You ready for some pain? You ask Sandra to administer one of her special trials for Ruki. What, the loud-mouthed cur? Well, I suppose that he is ready, technically. Oh, I have a litany of reservations about him. But let us bring him forth. Soon, Ruki appears in heat of the summons. Chum? Why are you looking at me like that? Well, Ruki? You about to get trialed! I gotta have, like, one of these every time they're masked. Shoot.
Alright, what's the big idea, huh? Is some kind of trick you're playing, chum?
The apparition Sandra then appears and unfastens her mask. Shut up, shut your snout and listen well, cur. You answer to me here.
Huh? What?
Your mouth runs quicker than those stubbly little paws. You have much to learn if you have any intent to prevail in the rites. Let us see how you fare without the benefit of your trusted comrades. Save for your lovely reader.
This kinda decent. I guess it's you and me then, huh, chum? Wherever you are.
Alright, I don't remember how to play. I don't remember how to play at all. Okay, no, please. Use this button to hit them. How do I run? R? No. Hold down R2. Okay. That is not what I want to do. Please don't. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Can I sprint? I can sprint. Let's get it in there. Oh no, that didn't work. Bleh. I'll take that, please. Thank you. How'd I go? Ah, got it. Oh, and I have a jump. Oh no, I dropped it. Let's get it in there. Heck yeah. Oh, I guess I can throw it over there too if I can get close enough. Let's try that one. Oh no. Rugi! Come back. Get that. Thank you. Let's try this. Stylish. Yay! Almost there. No! I was a fool. Oh no, that was very little. No! Okay. I have a lot of hit points on there though. Oh, there's walls there. I see now. I can't move past those. Please come back. Can I bust you up? No, because I had the orb. I'm a fool. My good lead is starting to disappear. Okay. I gotta shoot them first. Okay. Grab this. Let's run. I think I can make this. Nailed it. See, ordinarily I would have, like, teammates to pass things to, etc. That is how we do it, right, chum? It is. And you acknowledge likewise that you did not do it on your own, despite having to face my demon friends all by yourself. You passed my test, Cur. Congratulations are in order, both to you and to your lovely reader. Now, farewell. Yeah, it's only a slight reverse reverb on her. I think I'm playing it a little more dramatic than it is there, but still. Sounds like they have a couple of effects on her. That Sandra kind of gives me the shakes, know what I mean, chum? Hey, what's that you got? You received Jomware's Fang for completing Ruki's trial. So now I can equip that to Monsieur Ruki. What does it do? After Ruki casts Zora, it lingers longer than usual. That's neat. What does he have right now? Being banished, bear as a shirt. Yeah, nah, let's, yeah, take this. Cool. Who else was I bringing along for stuff? Usually her. That's bear plus 2 quickness. No, I like that right now. Who wants this talisman? I think Tizo has, like, skills that make him come back. I was over here. Banished. Automatically casting a float ability. Saluting his adversaries. Tizo turns into a fast-moving howler or back. Oops, I didn't want to do that, but I'm going to give Tizo that thingamajig. This, I think. Banished by an adversary, though, so that means I can't pop it myself by using his self-destruct. Let's give that to you. Why not? Though I haven't been using him much. So we can get more of those, I think. You have returned to me, have you? Oh. I see. None of them are worthy right now. Interesting. Don't need to do any of those. I shall be here if you need me. Let's go. Continue your journey. You find everyone is feeling rather miserable. You sense just being in Flagging Hands eats away at one's spirit. Only the imp Tizo seems unaffected. Most of your fellow exiles lost -1 hope for the next rite. No! Well, I guess I'm bound to suffer alongside them. A moment, reader. There are several courses we may take through Flagging Hands. If you choose to prolong your stay, it may be worth your while. However, your companion spirits shall likely suffer more. Okay, the fallow field. The south route through Flagging Hands crosses diseased and wilted plains. But I can improve a talisman if I take a job here. Plaguemont. Hedwin suggests taking this faster route will reduce your companion's loss of hope, which it cuts through, straight to the pit of Milith. Cold Moat. Across his mass grave. The Lone Minstrel says you can get a valuable item if you take a job here. Let's see what that valuable item is. I like that idea. Skulls! I just reread Getting the Orb Rookie. The north route through Flagging Hands is dismal beyond reckoning. There's little talk among your group, yet you sense despair encroaching. Only Tizo seems unaffected. Most of your fellow exiles lost another -1 hope for the next rite. That's a lot of hope that we're losing. Later, you accompany the Lone Minstrel in pursuit of his task here. Speak not directly to the living shade, and be true to their hearts when responding to its inquiries. And make no attempt to look it in the eye. The Lone Minstrel offers these and other words of advice as you approach the burial mounds of Cold Moat, which flashes its new info. The north route, which crosses mass grave. Even a thorough burning failed to cleanse a certain haunted air here, where many exiles of the downside see their final days. The glimmer of a shade appears before you as you stand surrounded by the dead. You barely see it, and it does not speak, but you feel its thoughts piercing your heart and mind. According to the shade, the book that you possess may lay some of the fallen here to rest. The shade leaves you to your work. You turn through the book, locating passages concerning freedom and the spirit. You recite such words as seem best fit to each of the fallen you see. It is draining work. Shade resurfaces after a while. It leads you to a hollowed stump, then fades away. You found a Nox shroom. That could be sold at the slug market. A seething bit of fungus which holds its value to certain denizens of the downside. You quickly put it away. I love the personality of the cart. By the time you reach the pit of Melith, everyone besides the Impetizo seems to be feeling even worse than before. You sense their desire to leave this place as soon as possible. It's hopeless. Hope -3. Page revealed the Empire's collapse. Let's read that. You still have something on your mind? We'll get to that in a second. Book of Rights. The Empire's collapse. See if I can remember that character's voice. It sure is a Blue Lantern shirt. All will be well for Hope Burns Bright, fellow Blue Lantern. The Empire's collapse. In the words of Gol Golithanian, the Master General. It was not long before the Empire began to crumble. With my liege gone, his own country quickly turned upon itself. I must admit that this collapse had started long before the Emperor's disappearance. His decision to give chase after a myth but hastened the inevitable. All the while, the rope collar stood by, awaiting such a time as he could rule in my liege's stead. He would be our people's savior. His first charge was to organize a search for the missing Solium Myrrh. Warriors, pathfinders, and scholars heard the call and prepared to seek him out. Hopefully in a little bit you'll hear who I'm trying to imitate, because I gotta hear his voice a little bit more. I haven't heard it before starting this stream today. Rookie. You find Rookie. Rookie. You find Rookie rummaging in the corner of the black wagon. Hey, chum. Know what? It's good having somebody else around. It's good having somebody else around besides those two. I don't know why I'm getting all jumbled up all of a sudden. So, come to think of it, there's something I wanted to get your take on, and you have to promise to tell me honestly. What'd you say? What I mean is, hey, I'm rummaging over here. What I mean is, he hesitates. He hesitates, trying to find the words. Look. What I'm trying to say is, you sense something serious is troubling him. He moves in very close, making sure no one else is in earshot. It's about my mustache. I've been getting some conflicting reports about it. Rookie, you better fucking keep that mustache. It's perfect. Would you say my mustache, that it, makes me look a bit, you know, unscrupulous? I think it looks perfectly fine. It is very handsome, and if anything, it gives him a distinguished sort of look. What are the other options that are clearly worse than this top one? Something about it makes him appear less trustworthy and perhaps less youthful, too. Fuck that. Say nothing. His appearance is not your concern, nor is a drawn-out discussion on personal grooming. No, he is perfect. His mustache is perfect. It is perfectly fine. You suggest that Rookie's mustache looks perfectly fine. He grins wide at you. Couldn't agree more, chum. I knew straight away that you're a real judge of character. Anyway, got to check the wheels again for mites. See you around. He bounds off out the wagon. Yes, Rookie gains +1 hope for the next right. It looks like we're just like stuffing all the abilities onto Rookie. We'll see how it goes. I think that was that. Brush away some of these cobwebs that are always coming back. Please. I suppose let's commence the raid. Oh wait, no, it's Slug Market. Oh, this guy's fun. Oh hey, you guys. You know, this place,
A lot of folks, but not a lot of customers. Know what I mean? So have a look around.
Ooh, we got new things. Oh, also I can tell him to shut up because he makes all these like wacky noises. But look how sad he looks when I tell him to please be quiet. I would really prefer it if you would just be quiet. And now we're all sad, right? I think all of us are sad. Be your best self, Falcon Ron. I love him. Alrighty, so things I can trade in. I can sell this. Looks like that's the only thing I can do with it. So let's sell it. You take that. Living in the atmosphere, Pyre bearer deals bonus damage. Start right. Bear's Pyre automatically gains +7. Lunar glass. Carrying the orb, bearer moves faster than usual. I kind of want to save up for this one. I really like that. It costs a lot. Which costs a lot, rhymes with ocelot, and I find that funny. Lucrative contract. Money. So I can get more money with the lucrative contract. But I feel like it would give me a bonus, so it would pay itself off after one right. So it's kind of free, yeah? It's true, just look at my medical bills. Oh no. I'll save up for those too. We'll buy those medical bills off of you instead of lunar glass. Stone, +2 hope. Scribe rock, +2 presence. With these two. Raises the rank of certain talismans. Okay. I guess. Yeah, if I banish 10 people, it pays itself off in one right. So I guess that's worth it, yeah. Also, give me one moment. I must respond to a quick text. Friend of mine is coming by to pick something up that she left here. Oh, and she is here. What time is it? 5:54. I'm gonna use this as a break time, since it's almost to the hour anyway. We'll just do 2 rights in the next one, and then after that we'll do the fun audio thing. So, pardon me, but we'll go do that right now. So it is in fact break time. Do all those things you need to do. Oh, I also have to take my meds. How about that? Hey. So I shall return swiftly. I'm going to leave you with some wacky sound effects coming from this game while I do so. I shall return in about 5 to 10. someday I will remember to turn my mic on when I sit back down. Thank you. Yeah, Subby can hear me. Yeah, so if... Yeah, I don't know if it said it correctly, but there was a cat outside. So I said hi to the cat. Myself and my roommate and my friend all said hi to the cat. But, yes, beautiful cat. Little, yeah, we're hearing some background noise. As we should. Yes, that background noise is this background noise. Sure does sound like a train, though. All right. I was gonna say, oh yeah, before I said that we would do the audio stuff, the audio magic stuff, after the first break, but we'll do it after the second, so that we can actually get some gameplay in today. And then we'll do that. Have you had that hat on the entire time? I have, yes. I got this hat at a place called the Purple Store in Seattle, where you can purchase everything purple. Like, if it's purple, it's there. If there's a thing, they sell it, but they sell it in the purple variety of it. Everything from, like, kitchenware to appliances to, like, stuffed animals to furniture to... I got a wine key. I got this hat. There is apparel. In the back corner, there's an adult section where you can get toys and things that are purple. Because you can get everything purple there. It's great. Yeah, if somebody wants to let me know where the blue store is, I will permanently move there. Yeah, you know, adult toys like Jenga. And yeah, Slinkies. Alrighty. Well, I guess Slinkies are kind of close, but you know, either way.
Thanks, guys. Good luck in that thing you're going to tonight.
Let's commence the rite and see how close I can get to remembering how to play this damn game. As you make preparations for the coming rite, you wonder if the stars above will even be visible through the dense fog hanging over the pit of Milith. Then... Tizo seems to be very concerned by something in the vicinity. The little imp disappears in a hurry. Oh, is Tizo all right? He was so frightened. He was not frightened. He was issuing a warning. Silence! Everyone take cover! Jadariel makes quick note of several hiding places among the nearby crags and rotted husks. You wait. Something about the place dampens your senses. All you feel is a creeping dread. Then, from the shadows, a writhing shape slides forward, its hulking form draped in raiments. The shape stops. Slowly, its head turns from one of you to the next, each in turn. Wise of ye to hide yourselves from us, little nightwings. Ye trespass on the resting place of the astral born. We shall see ye when the stars muster the courage to illuminate this place. The creature vanishes into the dark. Ooh. Wow. I'm liking that. After a time, your companions reconvene. That was a bog crone. Bog crone? Serpentine creature is native to the Commonwealth's southern bogs, widely feared. Though formerly part of the Commonwealth, the bog crones tend to keep to themselves. Indeed, that was Witch Udmilde of the Withdrawn. She's an ancient witch with an unhealthy obsession for Islak, the astral-born monstrosity. The Withdrawn being a triumvirate of bog dwellers compelled by sinister forces rather than by freedom, led by the crone witch Udmilde. Udmilde? Milda? Tizo makes clear he has no love of Udmilde.
Sera rictus.
Although the rites dictate she cannot harm you bodily, with her, best not to take unnecessary chances.
Sigram attempta.
We'll take what chances we can get in all of this. Everyone, it's time. It's good. Good rhythm. Your fellow exiles gain enlightenment after each rite, whether they prevail or not. The only failure is to stray from the path.
Why, you made it, reader.
Here's that
Made
guy.
it all the way to the detestable pit of Mileith.
Mileith.
In doing so, of course, you have disturbed your ancient adversaries, the Withdrawn. The deranged witch who leads them has big plans in store, should she prevail in all this.
Oh, that is a hell of a
Now,
voice,
as you know,
says
I
Ocelot,
normally
and I
would wish
agree.
you a shameful defeat. But in this case, I wish you a little bit of luck.
The crone Udmilda sees your companions gathered by their pyre.
A little flame as that shall never warm ye here, much less survive the night. Hear us, Islach! Make the night wings suffer!
Ruki trots forward from your ranks.
Listen here, you old bag. You don't scare any of us one bit. You? Or your buddy Islach, who we haven't put the cursor on yet so we can see about what Islach even is.
Islach, a monstrosity described in myths and ballads, thought slain by the 8 scribes. Even in death, the astral born yet feeds upon our world, unsated by its own. The scribe Lusclorian. Opposite to a tight chlorian is a loose chlorian.
Now, we doing this or what?
The question hangs in the air for longer than is comfortable. It does seem to have drawn Udmilda's attention, however. Ruki begins to squirm a bit. Then Udmilda moves her slender fingers to her mask.
Foolish! Islach shall grow! Islach shall grow! Islach shall grow! He shall consume ye ere your little flame has died. That we shall ensure.
Udmilda slides off toward her followers. Ruki remains motionless for a time.
Soup? Meow?
Who shall conduct the rite?
Alrighty. Let's see. So I think Ruki is kind of MVP right now. He's basically a god given everything we've gotten him. So we'll choose him. Ruki. He condescendingly says the names of every character in here, and I love it. My favorite is Tizo, though I think I'm going to unchoose Tizo for a moment, unless we go with him, but I'm not sure. But just like listen to the seething hatred.
Tizo.
Can I not unchoose him? Oh, well, maybe we're stuck with Tizo. That's okay. Tizo's a good boy. And then I'm taking Jodariel because we've been just like throwing a lot of stuff into Jodariel's points and things. What is this? Is this like go? Oh, I see. That's right. That's how I call on students who come to class late, says Uzora. Yes. Jennifer. Got it. Jodariel. Arabella. Got it. Tizo.
Your decision.
Love it. Alrighty, consider the withdrawn. Yeah, let's look at them. Let's read about them. Udmilda. Oh yeah, check them like this. The Doomsayer. She is an ancient witch with an unhealthy obsession for Islach, the astral-born monstrosity. Ba-doo-boo-boo-ba-doo. Her race is a crone, bog-dwelling serpentine creatures known for their bluntness, stubbornness, and wisdom. Either the Commonwealth tolerated the crones of the southern bogs, or the other way around, one of the two. We don't know anything about her crime, motive, or years exiled. But in the past, she was a pyromancer. Ooh, crones of the southern bogs always had a way with flames. I guess it really is through the pyre and the flames. Carry on. Left to their own devices, they provided for the Commonwealth some of its most provocative inventions. We don't know what her astral sign is. She is one of the reclusive crones of the southern bogs, though she seems right at home here in the downside. She frequently invokes the profane name of Islach, and seems to be acting on the will of that dark, dead god. Whatever her intentions, they cannot possibly be good. And then she has a couple of cultists. One male, one female. She is a savage who worships Islach, Astralborn, the star titan sealed away by the scribe Molten Millith. Molten Millith? Interesting. It sits upon despair and fear and doubt, and lands such as our own, the Book of Rights, alongside Unmilda and the Withdrawn. Savage race. Simple folk ostracized for their deficiencies or differences even prior to their sentencing. We have someone who is a savage in our group, I believe, also called the Moon Touched. They proved overly resistant to principles of lawful society, or maybe we've met one at least. But
Filthy savages.
the Moon Touched. It's really cool. I like that name. Let's consider ourselves as we pick Joe Dariel. You know they're savage when they don't use a coaster. I am totally using a coaster right now. There we go. Crone shall make a fierce opponent. Oh, sorry.
The crone shall make a fierce opponent. Everyone on guard. No matter where ye go, Islach shall find ye and devour ye.
Begin!
Oh shoot, I'm blank.
Stand not in glory's path. Your
Nailed it.
adversary's pyre is the first to falter. Seize the orb.
Hey, I'll take that. Oh no, I won't take that. I didn't mean to blow up my... No! I forgot that's what he does! No!
Alas.
Tizo! Tizo's ability is that he
perhaps
blows
you
himself
are
up.
Unworthy.
Ah,
With grace,
you gotta be quicker than that. This is my favorite non-EA sports game. Yes, Azora.
this is the path to
Certainly.
glory.
Oh no.
Someone there rose to the occasion.
Nope.
Your
could've jumped.
exile shall return
could've
ere
jumped.
long.
No. No. I made a mistake. Big mistake. Thought I could hit
A
them.
rather cunning trick.
He does have a very Alan Rickman sensibility with his voice.
Your adversary's pyre now burns brighter than your own.
Oh, shush. I'll take that. There we go.
Now that is how you snuff fame.
Your adversary's pyre now burns brighter than your own, Mr. Potter. He had a deeper... He was pulled back in his throat a little bit more, if I remember correctly. He might have had similar... a similar affect to his voice, but he was a little bit more deadpan usually and pulled back. But yes, same accent, I agree. The lifeblood of Islak. Nope.
The lifeblood of Islach. It flows within this lair and beneath this world. His lifeblood. It shall engulf ye in such blackness and despair.
What you gonna do, buddy?
The witch invokes a profane name I shan't repeat. Best beware of foul sorceries.
Nope. Get singed. Woohoo! No.
How
No.
careless.
No. No!
Pyre cannot take much more of that.
What did you say?
Your pyre shall soon be ashes on the ground.
No. I almost had that. Pop.
Somebody get the orb.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
How utterly brazen.
How utterly brazen.
Now end the ceremony.
Please. I got this. I got this. No, I don't got this. Please. Yay!
It is done. The Nightwings once again prevail. Their adversaries must be rather shaken after that. The rite is done.
See? Those bog dwellers, they're just a bunch of hissy talk. Tizo praises everyone's courage against Udmilda and the Withdrawn. It would seem our adversaries failed to unnerve us.
Islach, we have failed thee, and the deed shall be repaid in blood. As for ye, fools, ye shall be consumed, and everything around ye, from the soil to the stars, ye shall see.
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes.
Ooh, dizzy from that. That takes air. That takes diaphragm action. Whew. Yeah.
Focus, training, prowess. The path towards survival on the blood border.
The northern edge of the Commonwealth is a flat and vulnerable expanse. The High Wing remnants seize upon it at every opportunity from the cover of clouds or darkness.
These rites make similar demands of us.
I get to choose a mastery. I believe we were just going to be going down this, route. I also believe I have seen suggestions that when doing masteries, you pick one tree and stay with it, all 4 things in that tree. I don't know how true that is, but I'm going to do that, I think, so that I don't get too unspecialized. But I believe we picked this one because, yeah, that gave her a rush. And then I think we shot tutorial nearby adversaries making her the orb. Or 7 seconds after saluting her adversaries, your Dariel deals an additional 10 damage to the adversary's pyre. That sounds like timing that I don't feel like dealing with, so let's do this. These are vanishing. Oh, Jadariel gets all her stamina back. Yes! Kill! Gains more presence, so increases the size of her aura. Any adversaries banished by Jadariel will take 30% longer than usual to return. Nah, I like it. Rookie gets to do something. Maybe not. Tizo gets to do something. Maybe. Am I gonna pick something, or did I already pick it? I already picked it. It was this side? This side? Yeah, because I get to salute. I get to turn into a howler. Okay. That's okay.
Until the next rite.
Until the next rite. I love it. Having defeated the Withdrawn in a convincing manner, you and the others have some moments to recover from the ordeal in the relative safety of the Black Wagon. So, when can we get out of here?
What, Greentail? Had enough of Udmilda's hospitality for the time?
Oh, Jody, yeah, thanks. I'm good.
The Reader and the stars will point the way as ever. It's just, so far, we've kept on going north. If that's the case again this time. The Sea of Solace spreads north and west from here for untold leagues. I could not tell you when last a vessel dared to sail those waters.
Sea of Solace, an impossible oceanic expanse pockmarked by crude little islets. Attempts to sail across the drowned sea do not usually turn out so well. Beach episode! Tizo asserts himself during the conversation.
What is the matter, little one?
Tizo's trying to get you to come look at something outside the Black Wagon. Outside the wagon. Is little Timmy stuck in a well?
Reader, please go see what he wants.
You excuse yourself and follow the imp into the dark of night. I keep switching back and forth between like some form of British voice and some form of just regular American voice for her. I don't know what I'm settling on. Timmy, no! You find Lay and the Lone Minstrel already gazing up at the stars.
Magania Filifasi?
Can you not read the stars yourself then, Mr. Minstrel? I fear it is not so simple as matters of can or cannot when it comes to me, Lay. We shall see what the Reader has to say, for this is his charge. And here he is, in fact. Thank you for fetching him, Tizo.
Tizo is happy to have obliged the Lone Minstrel.
Reader, it would seem the skies have cleared to some extent. Please, look upon the stars and see where they compel us to go next.
We look toward the heavens. We seek now our destination. That was Milith the Bog Star. We did that. Goal. So we did those, right? And then here, and then now we have to go. No? Did we already do that? Or are these just ones I... Okay. Well, how about the big glowy one is probably the one we have to do next. Oh, and these are ones we haven't done yet. Okay. Sagathol. Whistling Prince. Excuse me. Seventh Jester. Pyre. Star of the Wooded Watcher. Beardan, the Broken Bowyer. Great Oarsman. Torvald. We're going to this big one that's glowing. Ories, the Azure Star. The Azure Star burns bright over the ruins of a lost frigate in the Sea of Solace. Ah, frigate. The rights beckon you still further north, toward the middle of the Sea of Solace.
That's not good.
You're joking, right, chum?
Does the Reader seem the joking type to you, Greentail? We do not argue with the stars.
You talk like we can just go right. Has anyone ever really been as far as even decided to go want to do look more like? You talk like we can just go ride right out into the water.
Pardon my interruption, though. Perhaps we can.
You say what?
My client, Sandalwood.
That's right, Sandalwood was the client. The apparent name of some mysterious informant of Headwind, Jodariel, and Rick.
He has a way of anticipating such eventualities.
God, the art in this game, says Josh something, and I wholeheartedly agree. God, the art in this game. I like the tones they use for, like, skin. The way that they have, like, the highlights and shadows. And then, like, the clothing is a little bit more flat colors. But the people's faces, at the very least, are always so, like, wonderfully shaded.
West of here lies a place called Big Bird Fruits.
Small bog dweller outpost at the edge of the sea. All sorts of contraband used to come through there, some of it fatal if touched or hidden.
The proprietor is an old companion of his. She may be able to assist us.
Edwin's smile returns.
Allure sirta.
That sounds like our best shot right now. Let's pack it up and move as soon as possible.
But who are we going to talk to? Let's talk to the Lone Minstrel, and let's also, let's do this Beyonder Crystal, too. Can I get the Wraith as a teammate?
Greetings, reader. It is good that you are here, for there is something that I wished to tell you privately. Do you have a moment? I shall not keep you long, though I know your time is precious.
The Lone Minstrel wishes to tell you something of the rites. Yeah, please do. You bid him to continue and make clear your interest in whatever he has to say. Speak to me, O Minstrel.
Very well, and thank you for your time. And I should further note, matters that pertain directly to the rites I must reveal to you alone, for thus I am obliged. In any case, when you confronted the withdrawn witch Udmilda, you might recall she tended to invoke a certain name. Islak, the Astral Born. I hesitate to say it even now. You would be forgiven if you took the ravings of Udmilda for mere nonsense. However, her words, as it turned out, ring with a certain truth. Before the union of the 8 scribes,
Those are the ones revered as gods that I spoke about at the beginning. Yeah, believing they bound themselves to exile so that others could live free. It's so cool.
when first they found themselves here in the downside, this land was even less hospitable, if that can be believed. It was ruled over by the greater titans, colossal monsters that once roamed the downsides.
The scribes together slew them one by one, and through this forged their bonds.
The one called Islak was the eldest and most fearsome of the lot. Just the same, the scribes managed to defeat it. They later used Islak's own hide and ichor to bind the Book of Rites. However, Islak did not truly die, for by some accounts it seems to be incapable of death. The creature is regenerating even now, though very, very slowly. Its vow is to devour this land and everything in it. Only then can it return unto whatever plane that banished it to ours. So, in a way, it is an exile, just like you. If ever should the creature be reborn, it shall be many ages hence. Thus, the ravings of Udmilda are more or less inconsequential for the while. Yet, the history of Islak is inexorably linked to the rites, and therefore must be known. I trust your research of the book shall lead you to discover more in time. I hope all this is of some reassurance. And now I leave you to your more immediate concerns. I shall go and check to see how everyone is faring at this time.
He heads out into the evening, bidding you a good rest. He heads out into the evening, bidding you a good rest of the evening.
You bring me brief reprieve from solitude. What seek you in exchange?
Let's ask what's on her mind. Also, I guess I can't do that right now.
Are you sloshing all the way across the flagging hands right now? A hideous place, or so I understand. Or I can neither see it nor experience its wondrous aroma, as you surely can. Although perhaps you are accustomed to it by now. The night wings of the past misliked the place, of that I can assure you. We share a common misery. Now please leave me to mine, unless there is a service you require me to render at this time.
No. Bid you farewell.
Farewell for now then, reader.
I love her permanent smirk. Yeah, mildly awkward, I agree, that sentence. He heads out into the evening wishing you a good rest of the evening. I feel like when I read those, I think one of two things. Either like when I write, or if I'm writing dialogue for something, I try not to use the same word twice unless intentionally. And so when I read a sentence like that, I assume that it's intentional that evening was used twice, and therefore I try and read it as such. So instead of like, he heads out into the evening, wishing you a good rest of the evening, like that implies that they kind of have equal weight. But instead I read it, he heads out into the evening, wishing you a good rest of the evening, like implying that that usage is like was planned, and the repetition was intentional, like that. I don't know. I don't think I like learned that anywhere. I think that's just how I've parsed reading things like that, because surely they wouldn't just use the same word twice in a row unless intentionally. But also surely that happens all the time. But yeah. It's a bit awkward because of the ambiguity of the words evening and rest. Yeah. Because I know, like, reading it the first time, he heads out into the evening wishing you a good rest, is what I would have expected. That's, like, kind of what my brain thought before it got to the very end of the sentence. And so, like, it parsed it as such, and then the last few words came in. It's like, this needs a couple more tweaks. Let's go back and do that again. But that said, attic ladder. Yeah, exactly. It'd be wishing you a good night. Yeah, he heads out in the evening wishing you a good night. Yeah, or a good rest of the night, or a good remainder of the darkness. I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think that a sentence like that makes or breaks anything by any stretch of the imagination. I think that it's just either it was intentional or it was just a very, 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 very minor nitpick that somebody glossed over. That's okay. Why are there so many? Oh yeah, no, I agree. Ocelot and John something. I don't. I also assume that when we talk like this, it's because we're all like spelling, grammar, and syntax nerds here, and so we like to pick apart these things. So the reason why there are multiple of them, I believe these are not necessarily rare books, but like they can't read them anyway. I'm the only one that can read them, so like they have these because they can. I don't know. Yeah, they are rule books, essentially. It talks about the rights and what they're about. Like, how the mystic path to freedom. Like, if you follow these rights, these get you to how you could potentially make your way back to society. Wait, I forgot to check and see what people are doing every time. It says this, so every time you get a new person to really make you one of those books, Fizz, I would put it right there if you were to do so. It would go right next to my transistor stuff. That is a big if, because that seems like a grand undertaking. And I... how do I phrase that? I'm never going to ask for something like that, because that's a grand undertaking. Period. Done. Yeah. So, yeah. That's fair. If you were to realistically want to make something like that, talk to me outside of here. Like, hit me up on Discord. Speaking of, you can hit any of us up on the Discord at discord.gg/yesbridgames, which I just linked in the chat. That said, hit me up on Discord, and if this is something that you decided, you know what, this seems really cool, I'm going to actually look into this. If it got to the point of finding pricing for things, like, we can talk about Venmoing and stuff, and, like, if you're like, yes, I have this grand plan, it would be really cool, I'd be happy to do all this, then I'd be like, awesome, don't go one step further unless it's commissioned. Like, so, chat with me if that's something you want to do. That's it. Oh yeah, so each of the characters, as you get a new character, you get an item in here that corresponds to them and tells you, like, what he's doing. It's like Hedwin's status, practicing his letters. Hedwin is practicing writing? That's so wholesome. Okay, so that's interesting that you say... Okay, so for the longest time I thought this word and the mobility tech, the same pronunciation, were spelled the same. Oh, spelled the same. I was like, wait a second, but I thought they were pronounced the same. But you're saying that they were spelled the same. Yes. Yeah, segue and segue. Gotcha. Cool. Brain decided to go elsewhere. Yeah, okay. But yeah, you get a thing, and it tells you what it is that the people are doing. So, like, this is Leigh's thing, which says that she's currently sniffing at something. Her thing being a scribe catcher. Yeah, ADD brain go. ADHD brain go brrr. Yeah, she's kind of a wild child. Either that or it's just like... Maybe not sniffing at something, but sniffing at something in the air. I don't know. She kind of reminds me of... Who was the girl from Firefly? That was like the... River. Yes, thank you, River. Kind of reminds me of, like, that archetype of character. Raptors. Okay, well, let's check out the roster for now and see if we can level anybody up further than we did already. I gotta give Tizo something we're gonna use him, but I don't know if we're gonna use him next. Let's give... I forgot to put on the lucrative contract, so it did in fact not do anything for us. Let's see. Who do I know I'm gonna take with us? I guess we'll take Leigh. Did I call her River? I might have. Let's give Leigh the lucrative contract for now. Unless we get somebody way cooler in a minute, she's probably going to be on the team. And on we go. Big Birchtrudes. Small bog dweller outpost at the edge of the sea. The lone minstrel says someone here can help you pursue the stars across the sea.
This is the place. Let us go to see my client's companion as soon as you are ready.
Seek. Big Birchroot. I know we were just in here, but is there anything that changed? I see nothing. Here we go. So does everyone in your group get out if you win the trials or just the triumvirate? I believe it's just the triumvirate. I don't know that for sure, but I think whoever are the 3 that you take with you to the end, those are who are freed. But I am not sure about that. I remember reading something about this game having some choices that you have to make about characters and, like, who you decide to, like, invest your care into. But I don't know. I don't know that to be true. That's just what I've heard here and there over the years since this game came out. Yeah. Big Birchtrudes is a sickly gathering of bog dwellers who stay within shadows, yet you can feel their eyes surveying everything. The lone minstrel steps forward.
Sandalwood sent us.
Those words are enough to make the bog dwellers snap to attention. They emerge from the mud and dark and begin inspecting your black wagon with their strange tools. One of the bog dwellers slithers forth. She's larger than the rest and leaves no doubt that she commands the others. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Her, her femur is split, says Ocelot. Oh, yeah, or, like, not the femur, but the, what is that, isn't that the, like, is that the tibia and the fibula, right? Is that the name of those, or am I still thinking leg? I am flashing back to 3rd grade anatomy here for a second. And, like, labeling a skeleton worksheet. But I think... Or is this the radius and the ulna? Or was that in a different part? Yeah, the forearm bones. Your bones. The skeleton, bone 1 and bone 2. The denizens of the bone zone. Radius and ulna. Yeah, thank you, Velabestet. One of the bog dwellers slithers forth. She is larger than the rest and leaves no doubt that she commands the others.
Thou speakest the name Sandalwood. We would know his whereabouts. Reveal them to us. Good day to you, Big Bird.
She is a bog dweller, once feared and respected in the Commonwealth for her sorceress work. For her sorceress work. The work is sorceress, not that she is a sorceress. But I suppose it also implies that she is a sorceress if her work is sorceress. Yeah.
It is a pleasure to meet you at last, for Sandalwood always spoke highly of you and your handiwork. He did he? In turn, we know who thou must be.
Open sorceress, stop, please. Oh.
Yet thou speakest of the past. Sandalwood, doth he yet live? Speak plain, and quickly. To be quite frankly with you, madam, I do not know for certain, for I have been apart from him for some time, carrying out his will. Though I have every faith that Sandalwood lives. As for his current whereabouts, I understand that he awaits us somewhere near Wakingwood, beyond the waters.
A labyrinth of a forest on the western half of Black Basin. Few know their way around it. The path to the sacred Mount Elodial lies far beyond these suffocating woods.
We wish to seek him there, though, as you can see, our wagon is ill-suited for the task.
The one called Bertrude frowns at this, studying the lone minstrel all the while.
Indeed. Then leave us. Return at dawn. That is all. By your grace, Big Bertrude.
The lone minstrel turns away, but Hedwyn stops him.
Hold on. Are you sure about this? Leaving the wagon in their care? All should be in accordance with my client's plan. You keep calling Sandalwood your client. He must reward you well. Aye, in a manner of speaking. He helped me find a sense of purpose I thought lost.
Hedwyn nods at this, then turns to you.
Well, my friend, I guess we'll see what happens, right? I'm off to let the others know.
You find yourself with time for your vocations, while the bog dwellers go about their business. Alrighty, well, I can either forage for resources in the surrounding area to add to our stash of goods. I can gain small global bonuses to my fellow exiles in the rights. Or I can mentor a companion to teach my fellow exiles the old ways to raise their individual rank in the rights more quickly. I am going to... Oh, you're asking, so are you on an extraplanar area, or do we know? I don't know. I believe this is all... Wait, are we talking about, like, story for this? Like, are we on, like, actual ground, or is there, like, an open source joke I'm not getting? Because I'm not a programmer. Trying to glean context from this conversation in chat for those on YouTube. No, but actually asking. Okay, cool. So I believe that this is all, like if you imagine, or at least I've imagined there's, like, a city, and then, like, outside of that is just, like, wasteland-ish. Honestly, I kind of think of it like Sable. We were just there, but, like, the game in Sable was this, like, post-apocalyptic, just, like, kind of wasteland. And I feel like that's sort of this, where you, after you're kicked out of the city, you just have to survive in, like, bad lands. All the lands are bad. And, try and make your way back in. But, like, I don't know a whole lot about the world building yet, necessarily. Yeah. Every land is bad. Every villain is lemons. I'm gonna forage for resources because I really want that, like, moonstone thing that, like, doubles your speed, because I want to give it to Jodariel and have her just be, like, the fastest, most powerful. I think that'd be fun.
These lands are unacceptable!
In fact, I think the start screen actually shows you moments before you, the reader, gets yeeted into the downside. That would make sense.
You really smell like dog buns.
Yeah, let's do it. Alright, well, we go to the flayed vines. Sense something Falcon Ron values here. Some of the vegetation here is strong enough to have its uses. Or we go to the acid baths. Some old artifacts remain preserved within this noxious liquid. So I think, let's see what's here, and then if it sucks, we can always sell it. Fun fact: the land you were yeeted from was not the good lands; it was the not so bad lands. Yeah, it was the decent lands, the all right lands. The
Reader, yes. I hail from the far-off place known as the Meh lands.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good. The land's good. Yeah, we landed on that at the same time. Great minds think alike. Let's do it.
Well, chum, had enough scrounger for one day? Usually there isn't much, but if you never look, you never get. And believe you me, it adds up.
We got prayer beads worth 53 gold. Or stars, or cuts. After plunging into the adversary's pyre, the bearer has a chance to avoid banishment. 50%. Whoa, that's pretty cool, actually. Just run in there and then maybe be fine. It's a rank 10 talisman. Yeah, let's do it. How do I... Oh, I just exit out. Okay, cool. That's just the thing we got. Neato. I click on things here. The Lone Minstrel finds you early the next day.
Reader, it is ready. Please come, have a look. The others are already there.
The Lone Minstrel beckons you to come see the wagon. Yeah, let's see how many more imp power we can put into this thing. Is that a fish? We can go in the water now. They put fish in this. Black Wagon appears different now than it did even a day before. The hull is fully sealed and reinforced, and all manner of nautical equipment adorns the port side. Wow. You people seeing this? I'm gonna have a look around.
The wagon should be fit for sea voyage. Let us depart at your earliest convenience.
What about Big Bertrude? She then appears as if on cue.
Tell that sandalwood he owes us twice over.
Spiccare multa.
If I may, Big Birchroot, you could tell him yourself if you wish to accompany us in our voyage north. Our group would welcome someone of your vast experience. Dare thee make flirtations upon us?
Pyre.
No, Enough. But, should you see that sandalwood, tell him also to come and visit us again. Now, be gone from here, and tell no one that we were paid in favors.
She slithers off without another word. Soon the lone minstrel breaks the silence. Yeah, Bertrude's spectral antlers are pretty cool. Oh yeah, these guys could absolutely give Firestone a run for their money. Yeah. Remember, it's not good year. It's not so good year. Or not so bad year. That was it.
We are fortunate that she assisted us, but we should go, just as she said. I know the navigational controls and shall explain.
This is so exciting! I don't know how to swim!
Thanks, Lay. What's the...
I can't swim! Oh, screw!
Tizo seems to share Lay's enthusiasm for heading out to sea.
I am beginning to feel ill already.
Your black wagon became seaworthy. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. The Sea of Solace awaits. Set sail. You know I like my pirates. The Worm Gulf. We've not yet been to this region of downside. Before she left, Big Richard shared knowledge of the current that should draw you out to sea. Let's go. God, this navigation screen just reminds me so much of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. What? We transform into a boat? We can just do that?
This music is lovely. Ooh.
I think this might be my favorite track in the game so far.
What does it remind me of?
It reminds me of Sweet Child of Mine. that descending bit. Yeah.
Ooh.
I can't hit that. My throat is sore today. Not like sore, like just overused. But I don't know why. I don't know what I did yesterday to overuse it. I'm trying to remember. What was I doing yesterday? I worked, but what was yesterday? What is today? Today's Monday. Yesterday was Sunday. I guess it was just bartending. I must have just overused my voice. I do have some pain pourquoi out in the kitchen, so I will do that on break. I'll get some of that. Because I agree. We'll make some, we'll heat up some water and melt it in it. It's nice. You and your companions watch the sea as your wagon rolls over the gentle waves. Thank you, Ocelot.
We have crossed into Worm Gulf. The tempestuous Sea of Solace lies beyond this death-still body of water. Exiled worms from the Sea Dominion naturally congregate around here.
I want to meet sea serpents.
I hope that all of you are acclimating well. There is no acclimating to these worm-infested waters.
Exiled worms of the Sea Dominion tend to seek out the cold of downside seas. Known for being reckless and single-minded, they were perfectly suited to fill the Commonwealth's front lines.
We risk everything to sail here. As long as we follow the cold current Big Bertrude indicated, we shall be safe.
Atrecarum valsa.
If the next right is in the middle of this sea, how will our adversaries meet us there? They shall find their way, as we find ours. It is all part of the scribe's design.
Yeah, I believe, much like stand users, ADHD folks tend to find each other. Neurodiversity in general seems to find. Stand users attract other stand users. Yeah. I wish I knew what, because I think, what is it? ADHD or ADD became, what is it? Like ADHD got changed into like ADHD hyperactive, and then there's ADHD inattentive, I think, or or maybe you're right, it's ADD H and ADD I, and then combined type. Yeah, ADHD inattentive. Yeah, there's inattentive, hyperactive, and combined type. And I have actually not been categorized. I don't know whether I'm inattentive or combined, though I would lean towards combined, though my hyperactivity never expresses itself in like needing to like have big outbursts of energy, but it's always like tapping my leg or something like that, though my meds have really limited that in the last couple of years. But I'm a weirdo who, like, if I hop into bed and I am, like, fidgety while in bed, like, I'll take Adderall to go to sleep. So, I don't recommend that. If you're at home, please follow your medical advice. Do whatever is prescribed to you. But, like, if ever I doubted that I, in fact, do have ADHD, knowing that Adderall will help me sleep is proof.
Now, reader, please confirm the next point on our sea journey. You've been talking about your attention deficit hyperactivity disorder long enough. We seek the hulk of ores.
According to the stars, the next right shall soon commence here. Carcass of the doomed exploring vessel Dazraban, lost in the waters of the downside. I take solace in the outer solace. Fetid waters off the coast of Flagging Hands. This water looks gross. I don't like this water as much as I thought I would. They put a creaking hull in the background noise. I love that. God, this game's attention to detail. Supergiant just floods everything with, hello, it's me, VT, raiding with a party of 20. Welcome. Welcome, raiders. How's it going? If you're just joining us, welcome to the Isbrit stream. Yeah, VT raid. Oh, that's very terrific. A very terrific raid? Or vastly, let's see, what's another word we could do here? Vastly terrific works. Tumultuous. No, I don't want to say vastly tumultuous, but I was playing this for the first time tonight. Got just past where you're at. Oh, I'm going to use that LOL. Yeah, good. Yeah, please just steal, like, take it. You're raiders. Come raid it. In fact, you're raiding at just the time that we're in kind of the seafaring area of the game. Yeah, welcome. If this is your first time hanging out with the Yizbrit Games stream, Yizbrit Games is a small indie publishing company that has published games such as Cyberpunk Bartender Action, VA11 Hall A, World of Horror, She Remembered Caterpillars, Masquerada, Of Songs and Shadows, Y2K, a postmodern RPG, upcoming games that you can wishlist with that link that Ocelot just posted in chat. No Place for Bravery, which is going to have a little bit more info there, including the trailer, as well as Nirvana, or Cyberpunk Bartender Action, N1 RV Annex A, Nirvana. My name is Fizz the Human. That's why when I type in chat this, it is posted not by Yizbrid Games, but I am a host for Yizbrid. I'm not part of the Yizbrid core, but we good friends. We really very good friends, yeah. So, I get to hang out on Mondays and host for you folks. Tuesdays and Thursdays are hosted by Jacob and his friends Meredith, as well as occasional guests, like Sarah or Angel, etc. Other folks from the Discord. Which, speaking of the Discord, if you want to hang out with us over at the Yizbrid Games Discord, there it is. Yeah, well, thanks for hanging out just because we're playing Pyre. Yeah, Mondays I try to pick... right now we're doing a full playthrough of Pyre. The previous game we did was Sable. I've been trying to pick, not necessarily indie games, but games that match the kind of, like, very artistically rich games, with, you know, an emphasis on story and such, because that's the type of game that Yizbrid Games likes to publish. So, yeah. Well, welcome, and glad you could come and hang out. It's me, VT, and hope that you and your buddies stick around. We're happy to have you. Yes. Yeah, Ocelot put it well. Yeah, not hired by the company. I'm a convention volunteer, turned good friend of the company. Indeed. Yeah, so if ever you are at a Penny Arcade Expo, once, you know, as Yizbrid is attending them, when, you know, because things happen. But yeah, if you ever stumble across a Yizbrid booth at a Penny Arcade Expo, chances are I will be one of the folks that's hanging around and helping out with getting you running demos and stuff. Oh, Fizz, I really hope Nine Noir Lives is out when you're done with Pyre. Duly noted. I will have to look into that in a few. Nine Noir Lives. Nine Noir Lives! Cats Noir Eyes! Damn it, I couldn't do it. Oh well. Sent it to me on Discord. Thank you. Yes. Appreciate that. That said, if you wanted to catch up on this playthrough, though it sounds like you have just been watching someone playing the game up until now, but if you wanted to catch up on my playthrough of this, you can check out, haha, Quick Draw. Let's see Nightbot work on that. Wait, that's interesting. Okay, so mine shows that mine went first, and yours shows that yours went first. Alrighty, but yeah, no worries lurking. Feel free to lurk. We're doing some voice acting in this game as well, of just reading along with things. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you so much. I hope that your work goes well. It's me, VT. It was a pleasure having you. Always is. There's something else I was gonna say. I guess not. We'll figure it out later. Alrighty, to Outer Solace. Yeah, thank you, Ocelot. If you agree, then we are in agreement. How about that? When the music picks up as we're sailing too, it fills out. The wagon continues rolling gently across the waves, which seems to you a welcome change of pace after having come from flagging lands not very long ago. Oops, one sec. Just one thing I needed to fix on here. There we go. That was it. Okay. The wagon continues, rolling gently across the waves, which seems to you a welcome change of pace after having come from flagging hands not very long ago. However, Jodariel seems more concerned now than before and paces ceaselessly. When she notices Ruki, she stops him for some questioning.
Greentail. How is he doing?
Oh, Hedwin? Oh, he's pretty much the same. Been up all night, retching into the waters, if I had to guess. His first time out to sea?
His first.
She turns to you.
Reader, please check on Hedwin when you have the opportunity. He requires our support, and we require his swift recovery.
Well, we only require his swift recovery if he's going to be in the matches, which we haven't been using him. But we'll see. I mean, I care about him as a person, right? You wish them a good afternoon as you go check up on the others. Later, you find Hedwin looking out of sorts.
Oh. Hello, my friend. It's just... the sea hasn't been good for me, I guess. It's... it's funny, all this trouble. Just to get back to the Commonwealth of all places. No. Hey, tell me something. What do you miss the most about that place?
Hedwin wants to know what you miss most about your past life. Your book collection. Sure, it was highly illegal, though just the same, you miss having had access to those volumes. Your life was almost always difficult, but several of your longtime confidants did help you to get by. Perhaps the food, your mouth waters at the thought of it, at least compared with what passes for sustenance here. Or nothing springs to mind. You have made conscious efforts to discard most of your memories of living in the Commonwealth. Honestly, books are books. Friends are friends. I miss my pals. Yeah, reading is illegal. They spoke about reading being illegal at the very beginning of the game. And that's... there was a bit about how you were very hesitant to even talk to them, like to tell them that you could read. But they needed a reader to teach them on where to go and how to... So I guess that means that every triumvirate must have a reader, right? I don't know if somebody else took note of that, but I believe that's kind of how that goes. But speaking of teaching them how to read, I think it's interesting that Hedwin was learning how to write, at least. Earlier it mentioned that he was practicing his letters. That's interesting to me. What a good boy. Anyway, a few friends I have, yeah. Oh, and then you select the thing, and as soon as you select the dialogue and it goes to the next thing, just the kicks in. Like that. The way that all of this music is just so subtly shifting along with what you're doing. The same way that Bastion had the narration follow your actions, and how Transistor, you could just hold down a button to hum. It was just a dedicated hum button. Supergiant! You're so good. You tell him that there were those who did support you over the years, and that it pains you now to be apart from them.
Yeah. I hear you, my friends. There's someone I miss terribly back there myself. I'm sure that when you make it out of here, your loved ones will be waiting. Anyway, I'll be fine, I think. Thank you for checking up on me.
You sense he wishes to be alone. There's not much to be done for him for now. Poor guy. May he soon get well. Oh, he's too ill to conduct the next rite. Yeah, well, you know. He's just not going to get to play with us much anyway.
I'm sorry for my interruption, reader. Please again confirm the next point on our voyage.
Yeah, the Sea of Solace. Please again confirm the only option we have. Yeah, you got it. So for those in chat who came from It's Me PT, I'm just curious, do they normally stream Pyre? Is that or is this like a playthrough, kind of on a whim, or curious? Curious to know about those who came before.
By the scribes! The sea! I didn't know it was so beautiful.
Having escaped the waters of Worm Gulf, you now can see what must be the hulk of Ores, far on the horizon. The hulk of Ores, maybe? Is it Ores, like Ares, Ores? Or is it ores, like, you know, what you turn into ingots? What you mine? Oreos, yes. Not everyone has taken well to the sea voyage, however. Tizo's wondering if Edwin is feeling better. Aw, yeah.
He requires further rest, Tizo. All we can do is to wish him a swift recovery. Reader, sir. From this point, our voyage must diverge from Bertrand's instructions. Please, consult with your companions about which course to take.
The Underking Pass. The north current toward the hulk of Ores runs as quick as Underking Ores himself. Label used the 8 scribes shall bless you here. Or the Fathomless Trench. The south current towards the hulk of Ores teems with fish and other sea life. Tizo wants to fish for something tasty here. Would we be a Yizbrid stream if we didn't go fishing at the first sign that we could cast a line? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yes, this is true. Thank you, Josh. Yeah, the narrator will probably say it eventually, so we'll just go with Oreos for now, and then, you know. What was the name? One of my favorite series of all time is Wakfu. This is a bit of a tangent, but there's a Oropo. That was it. There's a villain in season 3 named Oropo, and like the internet just always called him Oreo. The sea is peaceful for the most part, save for occasional strange shimmers beneath the surface. You realize the lone minstrel is looking down at them along with you.
Those shapes down there. Some must be worms of the Sea Dominion cast into exile.
Sea Dominion being a vast and war-torn undersea regime, home to untold numbers of amphibious worms. Having conquered their waters, the worms clambered onto the Commonwealth's shores in search of new wars. Velbested, if you're about to tell me that I have a new Wakfu buddy, that's good to know. The Grey Merchant of Asphodel, Magic the Gathering will forever be Gary. Just Gary. Sounds good.
Oh, Gary! Merchant of Asphodel.
I understand they tirelessly fought the Commonwealth's wars, having grown weary of their own. Oh wait, this was it.
I understand they tirelessly fought the Commonwealth's wars, having grown weary of their own. They must make worthy adversaries.
I didn't see what it meant by that! I am a fool. Tizo dives without warning into the depths below. Tizo was so excited he just screamed and jumped, and I didn't get to ask him. I highly recommend Wakfu. It can be a little slow going, but it is such a... I fell in love with its universe, so like the show, the manga, the games, all of it. It is an MMORPG, though the original game was Dofus, D-O-F-U-S, and then they made Wakfu the MMO as their second game. They being Ankama, the company that makes all of this. And then the Wakfu series was made to advertise the MMO, but the series, the anime, ended up being phenomenal. I will say this. As a voice actor, I don't wish to... I'm not going to say that the acting in Wakfu in the English dub was bad. I will say that I find the original French voice acting to be the best way to experience Wakfu. I will say that. I will also say that the audio mixing in the English versions is not up to par. there are very weird volume things that happen that are not present in the French version, at least in the original Blu-ray release of Seasons 1 and 2. Season 3, however, they changed up the dub cast, and those voices were, I believe, a superior English dub. I will just say that. I was turned off by many things from the first English dub. The Season 3 English dub I liked a lot more. But also by that point I had come to know and love all of the French voices and didn't want to change, even though that was good. So, that said, diving into depths below.
And there he goes again. That one enjoys being at sea despite its perils.
Eventually, the little imp resurfaces clutching something in its claws. For myself, I find I get a lot more out of a story when I can hear the original voice directors and VA's intents. Yeah, I can see that. Plus, I really like French. Like, I love the French language and think it's just beautiful to listen to, so hearing the characters speak in French is just... Also, the French voice actress for Amalia in Wakfu, the, like, Poison Ivy's power set plant manipulator princess from Wakfu. Her French voice actress is Princess Zelda's French voice actress for Breath of the Wild. Fun fact. So I restarted a game just to hear a little bit of it, and it's really nice hearing Amalia speaking as Princess Zelda. Though, what's her name? Patricia Somerset, I believe, is the English voice actress's name for Zelda. I think does a very unique but impeccable job. Yeah, anyway. Eventually, the little imp resurfaces, clutching something in its claws. We sure are ADHD around here. Boy, we sure are. Tizo caught a lesser shambler. You could always sell it. We sure can. Journey onward. Tangents. At last you arrive at the Hulk of Oreos. At last you arrive at Oreo Hulk, cousin to Red Hulk and Green Hulk, after journeying across the sea. It seems the next rite is to commence here soon, though there is no sign of your next adversaries yet. Dang, is this a math class in here? So many tangents. That might be a sign for you to leave. Tell you what, if it makes you feel better, I'll even co-sign the papers to kick you out. I'm kidding, I love you. Ooh. Book of Rites is shining. Down the river, in the words of Gold Golathanian, the Master General. The Emperor Solium Mur knew not of this, of course. His expedition yielded not the treasure he desired, but brought him closer to his country than he had ever been before. As he traveled down the river Sclorian in pursuit of greed, he found instead an inkling of shame. He saw the sunken faces of his people, heard their words for him. In time, he could not ignore it, and it proved more than he could bear. The river finally claimed him, his belongings, and his retinue. Once the people heard, I understand, they cried with joy. Perhaps he ought to have perished, but the mercy shown to him, I think, is what transformed him. There's a lot of sparklies. There are new sparklies. What is this? Silver cudgelhead, a limbless, cold-blooded creature rescued from the sea. It is fully grown and has led a rich life. We got a keepsake. I can do not tap on the glass. I'm gonna do it anyway. This is new. This is oh, maybe it's just the table that Jodariel wants to sit down and talk at? Question mark. How about this bell? This nautical bell. Among the Black Wagon's seafaring equipment, Hedwyn uses it to signal when food is ready. Keepsake from Big Bird Treats. Food's ready. But nobody showed up. Tariq's status is that he is strumming softly. Tizo is taking stock of the books. Thanks, Tizo. Appreciate that. The Drive Imp is just doing its Drive Imp thing. Hedwin's tossing and turning, sadly. We'll turn out the light for him. Lay's looking through the raiments, and Jadario is right here. But what's Ruki's fretting about something. That's sad. Where's? Oh, Sandra's wandering in the crystal. Let's talk to Jadario, and then we'll keep talking to Sandra. I really want to know if I can get Sandra as a character. I mean, I don't want to know, but I want to.
Reader, a moment of your time.
You ask what's on her mind?
Tom Diamen.
Hedwin. He's beginning to recover from his illness. However, its sudden onset serves as a reminder, I believe. I have known Hedwin since he was a child. Even now, I hesitate to say that he has grown. Nevertheless, there are such things that even I would never say to him directly. For instance, I struggle with his confidence at times. Whether he leads us to our freedom or our doom, I am ambivalent. Speak not a word of this to him, of course, in case that is unclear. I shall tell him in my own way if and when the time requires. In any case, when times remind me of his mortal weaknesses, I end up having to consider what should happen should we become separated permanently.
She trails off a while.
What I mean to say is, you should know that I am fully pledged now to this quest of ours, whether Hedwin is the one to lead us to its end or not. I have my reasons. One of them is him. I expect the same holds true for you. That is all I wish to say. Take care, reader.
She nods and brushes past you toward the door. She brushed my shoulder. Fish. Fishbone. Let's check out Sandra.
A visit from my favorite reader. What is the occasion?
Why can't I do this right now? Well, let's see what's on your mind.
There is an undulation I have sensed, reader, which means, I think, that your black wagon sails the seas. Am I not right? Of course I am.
I love her smirk. She laughs at this, or at herself, perhaps.
I scarce remember the sea. It has been a little while since I bathed in it, you understand. My memories of it are wistful, nonetheless. Although, if I remember correctly, the Sea of Solace is a disgusting mockery of the Emerald Seas near to the Empire.
The Empire of Sar dominated the world for millennia till the doomed reign of Solium Mur. Never shall we make the wicked errors of our predecessors, so says the Archjustice Androboles IV.
Oh, be careful out there, will you? Now let me cease my prattling, lest I extend my sentence by another such eternity or two. You had best stick to business.
I don't know. I've heard it's impolite to ask how old she is, Ocelot, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna bid her farewell. Will she... What will she say if I do this?
Let us do this all again sometime.
Oh, it just kicks me out. Okay. Well. Let's go to the common room for a second. Because I think, excuse me, we got a thing, did we not? Prayer beads. Let's do this one for you. Because why not? Finally, some good gear. Yeah. Was there anything else? Before I leave, could I power anybody up? I don't think I can. It would tell me if I could, yeah? Oh, but Slug Market. Yay!
Hey, state ipsio aliaste.
Oh, hey, you guys. Funny running into you out here. Right in the middle of the drink. Know what I mean? Not a lot of customers today. So, have a look. I'll give you a good deal.
Oh, I just realized who's voicing Falcon Ron. Oh, Darren Korb? You think that's Darren Korb? Or Skelly from Hades. I see. Okay, good to know. I'm gonna show something off real fast. One sec. This is my album, my vinyl album of Transistor. And that's Darren Korb's signature. Oh yeah, let me full screen that. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. One of my prized possessions. I had not played Transistor yet. I had only played Bastion, but I knew I loved. I had a feeling I would like it. I hadn't heard any of the music yet, but I was gonna get I checked to see what vinyl stuff they had because I like collecting vinyl, and they had the Transistor vinyl available at the time, and the records themselves are beautiful. They're all clear. But that said, I was debating getting it. I was like, I don't know. I mean, you know, on the one hand, I've never played this game before, so why would I get this for get an album for a game I've never played before? And then they were like, well, Darren Korb is sitting right over there if you want him to sign it for you, like if that's an incentive for you to buy it. And so instantly, $50 were withdrawn from my person, or I think it was 50. That's what I paid for it. I'm not sure, but it was out of PAX, I believe. That Supergiant happens to be attending. But yeah, I just want to show that off for a second. One second. Ooh. And we're back. Yeah, casually flexing. Not so casually. Not so casually competitively flexing. All right. I know we're coming up on a time that we. Oh yeah, we're already at 7:32. But I want to get one more fight in there before we go on break. But I think it's right after this. We've just been talking a lot. Lesser Shambler. Yeah, let's sell you. Take this. And now I can get this. Did we get... Was there something crazier that appeared? Just these dashes of stardust. Okay, well, we were here for this. Why did I think that was... like 100% faster and not 10% faster? Still. We're buying this.
Oh, you really did buy something nice from me, Horace. That's insane.
Alrighty. Can I put this on immediately? I sure can. Heck yeah! What's better between +2 quickness or +10 while carrying the orb? Gotta be this. I would imagine. I don't know how that calculates out. I do want to upgrade that, but we'll have to do that later. like flat quickness because then you can get to the orb faster. Yeah, but I don't know how much like quickness plays out. If like quickness is, if it's like 2% faster or something, or 5% faster even, but 10% after I get the orb, like I have to be stationary while I'm firing a shot anyway. That's fair. I like that logic, that she's already low, so this will boost her to something normal. And then, I would give it to Ruby, but, we'll give it to her. Yeah, let's fill it.
Poppy Ficky Tuesday.
They're leaving, Dad. Just look at how much we got this time.
Okay. Let's commence this right, and then go on break. And then... I missed that, I'm sorry. And then we'll see what happens. Lei, wearing her mask.
What do you think, Tizo? Don't I look just like Mr. Hedwig?
Tizo's worried that Hedwin is still feeling unwell.
Wait, I think? What's that?
A serpentine creature emerges from the water, followed by several others of its kind. You recognize it as a worm of the Sea Dominion. What they all are doing here you see plain by their ritual raiments. The nearest one somehow loosens its mask.
Good sirs and good ladies! So it is you that heed the summons to glorious competition against this knight and his brigade. Well then, let us do battle now without delay. More than our freedom is at stake here, but our very honor. And this knight fully intends to reclaim his. Oh, and lest this knight forget, he is called Sir Gilman.
Sir Gilman is a once proud knight of the Sea Dominion on a self-made quest to regain his honor.
He salutes you all on behalf of the Pyre Hearts.
A triumvirate of worm knights who perceive the rights as great battles to be won.
Until the contest!
He's perfect. I love him. Finally, a character in my goddamn vocal range. He splashes out of view just as the stars above begin to shimmer with strange light. I have two of them now. I have him and Ruki. That's it.
Relentless, aren't we, reader?
Tell me how to pronounce it.
Even the vastness of the sea was not enough to thwart your coming here unto the hulk of Orus.
Orus.
You would be wise not to underestimate your adversaries here, despite their pitiable look. I
thought that
am,
was
of course, referring to the Pyre Hearts. These rites are but another war to them, and that makes you their mortal enemy. I expect your battle to be glorious.
I thought that ship was like an axe for a second, and I was gonna say like, yo, a huge battle axe with a mermaid at the hilt, or the handle, like, that's my aesthetic. That sounds fucking great. The Sire Hearts, yeah.
Your fellow exiles are gathered on the rotting deck of the hulk of Orus.
Wait, never mind, this is narration. Your fellow exiles are gathered on the rotting deck of the hulk of Orus. As your adversaries clamber into view, Ruki paws up to them.
Say, what are you worms even doing here? Can't you just swim back to the Commonwealth or the Sea Dominion or wherever the fuck you're from?
Ha ha! An excellent point. It seems then that these adversaries in the rights are clever, wouldn't you say, sire?
Just get rid of them already, Gilman. As your commanding officer, this knight hereby commands it.
This knight wishes to introduce his noble commander and is not masked currently. No worm knight in history has withstood as many front-line battles. Doff your helms, sire, as is our custom. May our adversaries tremble at the sight of you.
Sir Gilman attends to his commander's mask despite his protests.
Wait! Give this knight his mask!
This knight hereby presents to you the great Sir Deluge. A noble visage, is it not?
He is a petty worm knight of the Sea Dominion who somehow survived countless battles. Wait. Also, may I note that Sir Gilman was wearing a knight helm under his mask, which is in itself a helm. What's he got under his helmet? Another helmet! Sir Deluge trembles and squirms.
So, yes, you can swim and no.
Ha! Of course we knights can swim. All knights of the Sea Dominion can. But we are exiles in this land, the same as ye. We can swim, 'tis true, but 'tis summarily impossible to swim back up the river down which we were flushed to end up here. Nay, there is but one way to return.
Silence, Gilman! Nobody cares! But back to your post!
Sir Gilman hesitates, but does as he is told.
This knight knows who you are, Nightwings! And he is not afraid of you!
He somehow climbs back into his mask and coils up to his full height.
And now, on guard!
He sure is turning into Lemon Grab. It's hard for me not to turn people into Lemon Grab sometimes. The exiles of the Worm Triumvirate take their positions as you focus on the Book of Rights. But why did we never talk about the Book of Lefts?
Reader, Edwin's illness means he cannot help us here. He shall be counting on us.
Remember, every villain is lemons.
Begin forthwith.
Alright, I want to hear about them.
Let's see. What do I have to learn about them?
The Honor Seeker, Sir Gilman. He is once proud knight of the Sea Dominion on a self-made quest to regain his honor. He is a worm, which is a relatively intelligent amphibian, known for their chivalry, hot tempers, and reckless determination. It was inevitable that the Sea Dominion's teeming masses clambered onto shore seeking glory. Worm Knight was his past occupation. The title Knight means nothing in the Commonwealth, but means a lot to worms. Those who clambered from the depths found a willing new employer in the Commonwealth. We don't know shit about his astral sign. One of the outlandish worm knights of the Sea Dominion, he appears to have withstood many battles in the name of the Commonwealth, which employs many of his kind for its ongoing war against the High-Wing remnants. His exile seems to be self-imposed, though he can only take so much abuse from his fellow knights. He is a danger noodle, and I will die on this hill, says Uzora. Thank you. Ozora. Oh, I apologize. Uzora? Ozora. How would you prefer that? Ozora? Like... Oh... Zora? Long O. Cool. Ozora. Worm Knight of the Sea Dominion. He is a Worm Knight duty-bound to serving Sir Deluge and the Pyre Hearts. Joan, Jet, and the Pyre Hearts. All you know of him for certain is that he serves the Pyre Hearts. Oh, that was Sir March. Was Sir Deluge. The Craven Commander. You know, I should have given him Pleakley's voice. He looks like Pleakley. Which I believe he sounded like this. Lilo! He is one of the Worm Knights of the Sea Dominion, though seems to lack their typical confidence and bravado. Nevertheless, he has seniority, appearing to be a veteran of numerous skirmishes, and other Worm Knights are taught to always respect rank. He seems rather abusive towards Sir Gilman, his fellow Worm Knight. Alright. See, I expected worms like dragons, not worms like worms. Meanwhile...
Jodariel.
You.
Throw kick.
Thanks.
It is done.
Oh, wow. I've heard so many tales of the Worm Knights. I thought they would be more impressive, though.
Gilman! Status report! What is the enemy's position?
They now stand ready to confront us, sire. A very brave triumvirate they seem to this knight's eye.
Brave? Sucking monsters, one and all! Pyre hearts, be ready!
Oh, jeez.
Commence.
Oh, there's like a... Oh, no. Can I... Oh, they're quick. That's fine. So they had us in the first half.
The orb.
Take that. Not getting past me.
That was the last of them.
Oh, no. No. Nope, I'll take that. Thank you. I'll take that. Thank you.
All of the Pyre hearts gone
Thanks.
as per the sacred law. Neither triumvirate is closer than the other. That's it.
Nailed it.
Dariel doused the adversary's flames. The Nightwings edge closer to victory.
Oh, God.
Shame.
That was quick.
Gilman! Your form is sloppy! Fight them as though your miserable life is on the line!
Your wounds do... Your wounds do word me, sire. This knight gives every right his very, very best. Though, perhaps we do have much to learn from such a brave triumvirate as the one whom we now face.
Whose side are you on? Get out there and vanquish them at once!
Our adversaries
Stand divided. Let us take advantage of the opening.
There
Go,
seems to
Dariel.
be dissension in your adversary's ranks. 'Tis little wonder these fool worm knights are no longer fit to
Can I just
serve
blow
the
them apart?
Commonwealth.
I didn't want to do that. I was gonna like blast them, but I hit the wrong button.
Quite the close call there, no?
Oh, I couldn't get that fast enough.
I thought they had you there.
Ooh, drop. Can I not? Oh, God.
The worm
I didn't realize they had it.
knights did it.
I didn't realize they had it. How did they have it? Am I just not paying attention?
How very fortunate.
Haha.
Brilliantly done.
One more. Okay.
Your victory's at hand.
No, no, no. Damn it.
That
So
ought to
fast.
wake you up.
I think I need to not use Jody. Or I just block
Deftly
here.
thwarted the drive.
Come on. Yay!
And it is done.
Cool. That was tough.
The Nightwings prevail.
Quick
Their
little bastards.
adversaries came ever so close.
Oh, and that's gonna be a
The
break time.
right is complete.
As soon as we get to some music. Oh, the mask isn't on.
I expected more from the Worm Knights of the Sea Dominion.
Those worms were quick, all right, but Rookie Great Tail's quicker.
The sea was making me a little queasy, honestly. But we still won! We won!
This night commends you, noble Nightwings. Gloriously fought, indeed, and this knight shall wistfully remember this defeat until the end of his days.
Silence, Gilman! This is all your fault! And now cavorting with our enemies! How dare you!
This knight was but attempting honorary compliments, sire. It is not in accordance with the rights to praise one's adversary on a... Oh, is it not in accordance with the rights to praise one's adversary on a worthy outcome?
Worthy? This night will show you worthy, you miserable little minnow! You are a failure, Gilman! Get now from this night's sight!
What stirs now in the hearts of all these exiles?
Give me experience points. Let me level things.
Something's awakened in the moon-touched girl.
Yeah. Okay, oh, so we get to actually see what her masteries do. I'm gonna leave it on here. We'll make some decisions in a bit, but for now, it is break time. Yeah, 750, cool. Well, bam. You beat me to the punch. Thank you so very much. Yes, indeed. I'm gonna go fix some pepakwa for me to soothe my throat. It shall taste good, and I shall be happy. I shall have a glass of it next to me. Make sure you get up and stretch yourselves and get some more water. Like, I'm gonna get some more water here as well, because even though this is a good
helmeted voice,
it's even better for holding water. Cycle your fluids, get them in, get them out. And I'll see you all in about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we'll try and do a push ahead. Though I'm not sure how far we'll get. I may not go all the way to one more right. We'll see what happens by like 8:30 and check in. So yeah, I shall return. So I don't mind going till 9, but it's just usually not the way things go. Where is that button that makes it so that I can switch to the Yizbrid break screen? There we go. See you in a few. Sorry for the music to abruptly be interrupted, but I am back. Thank you very much. I wanted to do something real fast. I want to see if this works. Can I do this? And make this still the focus rate output. Let me see something. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2. Cool. I'm gonna go to gameplay real fast, but I'm going to switch this. I'm gonna add a window capture. Audacity. I'm gonna put that here. Cool. Okay. Oh, the words are not visible. I'm gonna put this. Put these words, please. Come on. Words. Put the words. Put the words here, because I feel like we're gonna have like a couple tracks. So yeah, just real fast. Something fun. For things to do at home. What's a good line that you would want to hear with that, like, ghostly from another dimension effect on it? What's something we could do with that?
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
Yeah, I like that. Okay. So, I'm just gonna record it.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
Right. It looks like we peaked a little bit here, but it doesn't matter. This is just for... So, just to show you real fast. I want to make sure everybody can hear it back.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
Alright, and yes, I know that it peaked, but not too worried about it. Alrighty, cool. So all you do is... Effect. Reverse. Okay, now it's going to be backwards. Okay, then we're going to select it, and we're going to effect reverb. I'm just going to go with, like, the basic. I want to hear it. Alright, right, cool. Alright. Oh, that is weird. Yeah, I'm looking at a window right now. Oh, because it's a separate window is why. I'm capturing the window and not the desktop. Yeah. So I'm just gonna use a regular reverb. I'm just gonna go boop. Cool. That is strange that it's not. Is that here? Can I? That's strange that it's not capturing that info up there. But either way, so now it has that reverb on there. Right. And then if I go back now and reverse it such that it's forward again.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
You get that effect.
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
So the best ones to do are like, you know,
Please, you have to help me. I've been trapped in your computer for the last 15 years. Break me out! No, they're coming for me! The dimension won't hold much longer!
You know, anything like that. Reverse. Reverb. Okay. Effect reverse.
Please, you have to help me. I've been trapped in your computer for the last 15 years. Break me out! No, they're coming for me. The dimension won't hold much longer.
You know, that kind of stuff. So that was one of the main effects that I was I thought I heard anyway, and I think it's a little bit present on the I can't remember her name all of a sudden, but the Wraith girl that's in the crystal ball. Sounded like she had a bit of that leading into Sandra. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show off. Was just that's a very, very simple trick that you don't need to even change any settings, really, because it works on almost any, like, reverb setting. You just record a line, flip it, reverb it, flip it back, and then you can get that cool effect. I'm going to get rid of this. Remove. There we go. And now we're back. Alrighty. Thank you, thank you. I will admit I am not an expert. I know just a couple tricks that have gotten me through in making some fun audio things and for my own editing and such. But for more audio stuff, I don't know, go bug Ryan Ike about it. Though he's probably far, far busier than I am, so maybe don't bug him about it, but he is the true master of all of those tips and tricks. 5 sure. Alrighty, so last we checked, we wanted to see what these flags. We've charged time for relay jumps or sprints is virtually eliminated. Oh, that's cool. Trader's flight. Jumps and power jumps farther than usual. With feet while sprinting. They slows nearby adversaries. That's cool. False stat plays bans while jumping. She should instantly return at the origin of her jump. This one. Snapcast. Recharge time before leg and cast her aura is ready to use. Lay frequency orb faster and farther than usual. Considering your average orb series delay automatically leaps toward the orb if no one has it. And while grasping the orb, lay sprints and jumps without using stamina. Yes, yeah, we're going for this one.
A devious trick from the rope collar.
Game is drowning me out a bit. That's strange. I mean, I'll lower this. That's fine. I'm just wondering why all of a sudden the audio is different. I want to say it's because I opened Audacity, and Audacity sometimes screws with volume settings. But I don't know that for sure. Is that a little better? Okay. I can go a little bit lower too. I'm going to blame that on Audacity. We'll go there. Alrighty. Is the mic still... It looks like it's being picked up okay. Like, mic volume is good, it was just game volume increased.
Until the stars align.
We'll see. Cool. Oh, I got my Pepakwa as well. Oh, it might be very, very... Oh no, it's just right. It's just right. Just hot enough. Lovely. After thwarting the Pyre Hearts despite their best attempts to stop you, you at last return to the wagon with your companions. There's little discussion of the Pyre Hearts, who seem to have already swam off toward wherever next the stars directed them. Instead, your fellow exile's attention turns toward your companion, who is absent for the ride.
How is Hedwin?
The lone minstrel makes a sound, but no words form as yet. Something is troubling him.
I urged him to remain bedridden. And he simply would not listen. I'm very sorry, but...
Wait, what?
Everyone stares at the lone minstrel in stunned silence. The lone minstrel breathes a heavy sigh. But then... Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Hey, what's with the long faces, everyone? Minstrel, I should wring that neck of yours. As I was attempting to explain, Hedwin is already up and about. despite my having strongly recommended further rest. Yeah, next time start with the fact that he's alive, thanks. Agreed, Ocelot. Those that are unaccustomed to sea voyage and to take ill, they are very, very likely to experience further symptoms if they do not remain bedridden, or at least sedentary. Hedwin is running a considerable risk of having to spend another night in great discomfort. What are you, a doctor? Nay, although I traveled once with one, extensively. Look, I appreciate your caution and concern, Tariq, but I'm pretty well accustomed to discomfort here, and I had to see how things turned out tonight. I haven't had to stay out of a ride like that before. So you are back among the living then, Hedwin? I was just seasick. Nevertheless, a full recovery requires rest. I think we could all use some rest after tonight. Anyway, thank you everyone for your concern. And I'm sorry that I worried you or caused you further burden. He turns to you. My friend, what do you say we figure out where to go next? I'm beginning to miss being on solid ground. Follow him outside where the night sky awaits. I am no doctor. I simply played one on what you would call television. Yeah, further is a hard word with a rolling R accent, absolutely. It's not happening. Yeah, it's just not. Hush you. Hey, I wanted to thank you for conducting the rite back there without me being there. I could rest easy knowing you and the others would get through it. Anyway, I'll leave you to your reading. Can't begin to imagine where we'll be off to next. We're well past anywhere in the downside I've ever been. Even Jody hasn't gone this far. He bids you a good evening as you turn your attention back to the sky. The stars shine down upon you. Seek again your destination. Just checking out the time. It is 8:15. Cool. We'll play a little longer. Thanks for sticking with me, folks, by the way. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Oh, how about the big glowy one? Triesta, the Silver Star. The Silver Star burns bright over the fissured lands of Black Basin. Haas. That there is a Haas. Still further north then. Not nearly north. Not simply north. This shall prove difficult. What's the problem? Our destination is beyond the deathless tempest. A tempest raging in the Sea of Solace seemingly for all eternity. The storm that arose after a death of the sea titan unfathomed Plurns never has entirely subsided. A vessel such as ours has little hope of traversing it intact. Can't we go around it? Given our confrontation with the Pyre hearts, our chances back in worm-held waters would be even worse. Plurnis. The amount of the quality of being for peace, love, unity, and respect that you are. Your Plurnus. Come on, people. It'll be just another day in the downside. Go get yourself some sleep while we still can. Bet you you'll feel better in the morning. Your optimism is infectious. Isn't it? You all concur that rest is in order, for the sea journey has been taxing to everyone. Come daybreak, you shall have to find a way to sail past the deathless tempest. I get to talk to Tizo? One sec. Sandra first. I can sense you out there, somewhere. What is it that you want? I can't do any of these things. I'm gonna bid you farewell. You know where to find me. Tizo has been in a rather cheerful mood since being out at sea and seems pleased to see you. No, I think the practice match is just a thing I can do and not a thing that I have to do to unlock something. Either way, I don't feel like doing a practice match. So even if she's like unlocked behind practice matches, that's okay. I can leave her be.
Not worth it, IMO. Tizo's been in a rather cheerful mood since being out at sea and seems pleased to see you. Tizo's grateful at having had the opportunity to catch a fish for old time's sake. Tizo is asking you if you want to know why he loves fishing so much. In fact, I do. Are you Jacob Burgess, jinxed into a bat owl? Or a bowel, in fact? Since his inquiry is rhetorical in nature, so you anticipate his response. Tizo loves catching fish because he hates them and everything they stand for. No longer Jacob. He has devoted his life to the eradication of their kind ever since they killed his family. He seems on the verge of tears, though as far as you are aware, imps cannot cry. Then he leers at you, eyes wide, expecting a response. It seems he told you a joke. Tizo seems like he could use encouragement, assuming what he said was, in fact, in jest. It was a noble effort, though perhaps you did not yet fully grasp the nuance of imp humor. Now is not the time for Tizo to be making jokes. You are on a very serious quest. No, your Sasuke impression was impeccable. You muster your best belly laugh following Tizo's joke. He stares at you sidelong for a moment. Tizo admits the real reason he loves catching fish is because Falcon Ron pays a lot of soul for them. He snickers back at you and bounces off. Tizo again, +1 hope for the next right. Let's move on. You don't get anything gameplay-wise from practice matches, I believe. Thank you. I appreciate you checking in on that for me. Yeah, a little more. My attempt was on the Tidus side of things than the Bezos side of things, but either way, understandable. Yeah, let's go. Fraggle Rock. Frothsea sounds like a place Fizz would want to be. South's current towards Stormwall brims with large sea creatures. A ragged rock where there could be valuables to be found. I want to go to Frothsea because Fizz. Yeah, I agree. Ocelot, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, you know, Frothsea would be something I would use as like, you know, Fizz Frothsea. In, you know, in some campaign or something. The Imp Tizo has been much more animated ever than usual.
What is it, little one?
Tizo seems to think something very delicious is in these waters.
He keeps on screeching? I don't think I have ever seen him like this. Wait, what is he?
Just then, Tizo dives into the waters and vanishes into its depths.
Oh, I hope he can swim.
He can, but he appears crestfallen when he finally returns, his claws empty. Tizo is very disappointed that whatever he attempted to catch eluded him. Lei begins to sob uncontrollably. The two revel in each other's misery for a time. Lei and Tizo lost. So we should have a +1 hope to both of them because they both lost negative hope. Math. You and your companions look upon the deathless tempest. The stars demand you sail beyond it, yet the very thought is beyond reason. Then something in the nearby water stirs, and from it springs something familiar.
Hold, good ladies and good sirs. This knight beseeches you to hear him, if you please. What is it now, worm? The rites are ended. We have no further need of you. Oh, but you do! And in turn, this knight has further need of you, good lady. Out with it, then. Let us be joined! Let this knight join you! Please! Can you believe this, Hedwyn? Not really, no. Nay, look ye not so surprised. Your valor in the rites did stir this poor knight's soul. He swears to you, upon his long-lost honor as a would-be knight-errant of the Sea Dominion, that he shall serve you to the end. What about your other worm friends back there? The Pyre Hearts?
They are base cowards! This knight can no longer abide such spineless characters, having witnessed true glory in our clash upon the hulk of Oris.
One of the downside celestial landmarks, a carcass of the doomed exploring vessel Darzaban, lost in the waters of the downside.
Never before have we been trounced so thoroughly. And furthermore, this night shall aid your passage through the deathless tempest. Is it not so that you seek passage to the north? With this night's aid, you shall achieve your wish!
Sir Gilman continues to persuade you for quite some time. He seems to know a way to cross the storm, some sort of long-held secret among worms exiled to these waters. Jodariel pulls the rest of you aside after Hedwyn gives her a look.
Are you most sure that Sandalwood would want this thing along?
Mostly sure. Sandalwood wants someone for each mask, and this one seems about as good as we're going to get. Jodariel glowers back at the worm, who tries his best to look presentable. Hedwyn is more gracious. He tells Sir Gilman that if he promises to help you cross the Deathless Tempest, then he can come along for now.
This knight is overjoyed, and he hereby swears to see you past the storm. The first! This knight requires your consent. Give unto this knight your blessings in the name of the Nightwings, and thus shall he go forth. Sign here, put your initials there, there, and there.
Sir Gilman seems to be asking your permission for something. Tentatively agree to whatever he's asking, so he can get on with it already. It is not clear to you as to what exactly Sir Gilman intends to do for you right now. Beg pardon? He sure does. Ozora says the yellow dude from Monster Rancher. What was his name? The yellow dude from Monster Rancher always reminded me of a Gazer from Ultima, which I think was supposed to be like a beholder from D&D. What? I'm not going to research it, but yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. As you begin to say something in response, Sir Gilman cries out in triumph. He vanishes into the depths. Yet, through this close encounter with him, you cling to some sense of where he is going and what he intends to do. Help see his mission through. Dum 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 dum. Google says Suezo. Sure. I guess I don't remember his name. like that doesn't sound familiar, but upon thinking about it, I don't think anything would sound familiar. Good. Good music. Determined to prove himself to you and the Nightwing, Sir Gilman emerges somewhere in the outer reaches of the Seas of Solace and calls out to you.
Master Reader, if you can hear this knight, then he implores you now, lend him your guidance. This knight's objective ought be not far east of here. Today, we shall bring peace to the embroiled sea. Know, however, that among this knight's brethren, the actions we are about to take are highly forbidden! But they are highly just!
Thus, Sir Gilman sets forth to quell the storm that rages to the north.
Time to traverse a reef! He can swim! I can jump! I can slash! That's so cool! I can slither. Am I the book? Is he carrying the book? He's carrying the book instead of an orb, so that's me guiding him. How interesting. Can I like get things here? Is there like secrets to find? I might be able to double jump, yeah.
Hark! Yonder lie the foul spawn of unfathomed Plurnies!
The sea titan once slain by the scribe under King Oris. Her brood lies dormant in the sea. Tales of her monstrosities long spread across the world, Little writes.
Boiling the seas with their wrath! Exiled worms within these waters. Excuse me. Exiled worms within these waters long have harbored these abominations, using them to bar passage through the downside's channels for any save this knight's own kind. Be gone now from here, fiends! This night shall finish what the Under King Oris started! 7th of the 8 scribes of the Book of Rites, known as the Persevering or the Sea Sojourner. The legendary leader of the Worm's undersea crusade sought to reach the edge of the abyss. Can I double jump? No, I cannot. Oh, but I can get these. Blow them up. Am I getting hurt if I hit these bubbles? So is it like wherever I've run is the path that I slash upon? That's so cool! So like, if I touch these, am I supposed to be touching those? Oh, I'm not supposed to be touching them. Oh, I'm supposed to touch them, okay. Yeah, I really like him.
Hold it right there, you traitorous slug! How dare you turn your back on this knight! To your superior!
Superior by rank no longer, for we no longer serve the Commonwealth. Last this night checked. Here, you hold no sway over this night.
And what have you done to the spawn? Have you no honor left at all?
This knight has done that which required doing. His honor cannot sink much lower anyhow. He figured this would be an ideal time to free himself from servitude to you.
Why, you dare to staunch the tempest for those night wings?
Good Sir Deluge. This knight was born to dare! Now, come and fight this knight, if you so dare as well!
Ah! Pyre, banish him! This is an order!
Oh, yo, look at that! I just knocked them all out. And gone. Flawless. Chef's kiss. What now, Sir Deluge? Shall you not face this knight yourself and leave the dirty work unto your charges?
Fine, Gilman. You wish to stand against your commander, then have it your way, like Burger King. Sir Marsh, Lady Seagrass, to me. Banish now this troublemaker.
Snakes, dude. You are master of this night no longer, Sir Deluge. Thus, shatter our fraternal bonds. This knight would say it was an honor serving you, Sir Deluge, but that would be a bald-faced lie, and yet another stain upon his blackened reputation. Until we meet again.
Wait! You lowly traitor! This knight will have your head! Gilman!
That's what the ninjam is for. As the day wears on, there is still no sign of the Worm Knight. Your companions grow restless. But then... Hail! This knight returns with newfound tales to tell, and new scars to show for them. Sir Gilman is sopping wet and visibly shaken. He struggles to maintain decorum. He is, in short, the very image of a Worm Knight. And more importantly, that little tempest ought no longer pose a threat for now. Behold!
As if on cue, the deathless tempest begins to simmer and subside. Would you look at that? You really did it. Of course this knight did it! Now, if it would be alright with you, this knight could really use some shut-eye. The Worm Knight then collapses in exhaustion. You and Hedwyn help him out. A deal, Sir Gilman. Welcome to the Night Wings. Huzzah! Sir Gilman joined the group. He also revealed a path north for you. Let's bid him welcome. To the Deathless Tempest. You know, actually, I'm thinking that, I think he sleeps with one eye open. I sleep with one eye open, gripping my pillow tight. Exit light, enter night, but with a K. Oh, I didn't plan that one. It's so good. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, that's... stream's not gonna get better than that. Alrighty. We done. We're done. I'm sorry, Josh. Your favorite part will have to wait until next stream, which will be next Monday. It'll only be a week. For me, these weeks go by lickety-split. For you, I hope that it goes by slow if it's something you want to chew and enjoy. And if it's a week that you wish to pass quickly, I hope that it does. Yeah, I also feel like with a couple of those screams, I should rest my voice, because those are the type of things that you save for the ending of a recording session, just so that you don't, you know, blow your chances at other things. It wasn't the most ouchy it's ever been, but it was, yeah, little carving. So, yeah, thanks once again for joining us. Thanks once again for the raid to, it's VT. It's me _ VT was the person who raided us tonight with 20 folks. I'm unsure how many folks decided to stick around, but that's okay, whether you decided to hang or not. Where is this? There I am. But yeah, next week, 5 p.m. That'll be when I'm back. And once again, I am Fizz, the human. You can catch me on Twitter or on my website. You can hang out with us on Discord at the link that Ocelot just posted, discord.gg/YizbridGames. Find us and follow us through corridors and factories on, you know, yizbrid.net, Twitter, and Facebook/YizbridGames for both of those. On the YouTube is where you can find previous episodes, and you'll find this episode uploaded within the next day or two. Tomorrow is going to be, I believe... Let me see. I want to say, I know it's Jacob, but I don't know who his guest is. If it's Jacob and Sarah doing Oberdin still. And then Thursday, Jacob and Meredith doing Yakuza. So we'll find out. Oh, Oberdin is over. I see. Not sure it's been scheduled. Okay, well, either way, to my knowledge, there is a Tuesday stream. I'm going to see... On the Twitter is where you can find those things. Ah, yes, it might be Magic with Angel. This is true. Oh, that would explain why they're doing Magic with Angel, because Oberdin is over, so they're filling it out. Yeah. Alrighty. But yeah, trying to think if there's anything else to mention, but I suppose not. So enjoy the rest of your week, whether that's Yizbrid infused or not. Thank you once again to all the mods. Ocelot, Robert Merlot, both of you. To all of the folks who hung out. Oh, yes, you can get merch at merch.yisbert.net. We never call it out. I feel like it's something that doesn't naturally get segued into simply because rarely does a game bring it up. But these are from merch.yisbert.net. This is from Fangamer, but is also a Valhalla thing. But yeah, those two you can get on merch.yisbert.net, and also I believe the soundtrack CD as well. You can get there. I was trying to think if there was anything else I had on my shelf. That was this. If it's still in stock, the Masquerada of Songs and Shadows Masquerine, excuse me. I think that's it. Yes, they do hold hands. The Jill and Dana do hold hands. Alrighty. That said, you folks have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. And I will see you around the internet, and then and again on Monday. So have a great evening. Do 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 ba doo ba doo ba doo do 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 ba doo boo.